Board of Appeals meeting for October 30th to order. You all set there in the back? Okay, very good. First order of business will be to congratulate the Red Sox on another World Series championship. Boston, home of champions. All right, just to inform the folks here in the meeting room, we are one short in terms of board member. We have 6 today, which means that if any applicant is wishing to have his or her case heard before the full board, you have the right to do so, and you can ask for postponement today. Having said that, let me ask the Secretary to begin with the approval period.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we need the September 25th, 2018 approval for the hearing minutes. We need a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Vote in so ordered.
Before I get going on the extensions, the last case, case BOA 511-897-175 St. Paul Street, is being withdrawn, so I make a motion for denial without prejudice.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Very good.
Calling the next case is calling BOA 575-700, 65 to 73 East Cottage Street. There are companion cases, BOA 575-702. Is East Cottage Street here? Before I go and call every one of them? All right, we're going to hold those off to the side. Which one says Boylston Street? Thank you. Is Boylston Street here?
Yes.
Okay. This is case BZC 30642, 340 to 360 Boylston Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, members of the board. Thanks for hearing us this morning. For the record, my name is Adam Hungley from Goulston & Stores. I'm real estate counsel for the applicant. And on my right is Harold Dennis from the Drucker Company, which is the applicant. Just in 30 seconds, we'd appreciate it if the board would consider granting some additional time to get the 350 Boylston Street project underway. In this good economy, efforts are absolutely continuing to start the project, including inquiries from prospective tenants, outreach to prospective tenants. It's just that it helps to have an anchor tenant locked in before starting construction, and we're not quite there yet. So again, we'd appreciate it if you would consider some additional time.
When is the current permit expiring?
Currently, the zoning relief expires on December 2nd. We'd ask for an additional year, taking us to next December 2nd, please.
Make a motion for a one-year extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 489-875, 239 Boston Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. Chairman, members, this was an application originally approved by this board in October of 2015 to renovate and change the occupancy of an existing single-family dwelling to a 3-family dwelling. This matter was extended by the board on November 14th of 2017. It is set to expire November 13th, 2018. My client is near permit issuance. Permit issuance is actually imminent. The last thing that he had to do was to sign a contract with his contractor. The permit may in fact be issuing today or tomorrow, but I don't want to take the risk that it may expire. I'd therefore request a 6-month extension on
We'll make a motion for a one-year extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Thank you.
Calling the next case for G-Cot. Well, before I do that, is East Cottage and Hillsborough Street here? Okay. We'll go right to G-Cot, calling BOA 878-219, 215 West Canton Street. This is to replace the patio drain to prevent water back up into the home, remove patio block, and dig down to the exposed drain. This is a new 46-inch high block retaining wall and paver stones to be installed. The violation is Article 32, Section 4. This is G-Cod. Name and address for the record, please.
Susan Bland, 215 West Canton Street, Boston, Mass. 02116, Apartment 1.
Ian Bland, 215 West Canton Street, Boston, Mass. Apartment 1.
Okay, could you describe very quickly what you intended to do?
Yes, so we actually hired a contractor last year to do this work, and we were under the impression that he already had done all this work as far as getting inspections cleared and permits. So we had an inspector come, and he said we actually we didn't have a permit for the patio work, so we've been working ourselves to get the permit, and essentially the work is already done. So that's a little bit different than normal.
So this is a retrospective.
Exactly. So we hired a civil engineer, Doyle Engineering, to inspect the G-Cod issue, and he submitted plans to the Boston Water Sewer Commission, and they reviewed it within a week, which is very quick. And they just had 2 comments regarding existing sewer and rain leader locations, which my civil engineer submitted yesterday. So we don't have final approval, but it's already been reviewed and the comments submitted.
Okay, Christian?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Christian Simonelli, Groundwater Trust, and we would just request a hold for signature at this time since the plans are before Water and Sewer.
But they have been reviewed.
They have been reviewed, yes, correct. I've confirmed that with Water and Sewer. Yeah.
Okay. So is there a motion for approval, understanding that we will hold it for signature?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve and hold the, hold for signature.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, you're all set.
Thank you.
Calling the next 2 cases, one for two for building code. Case BOA 874-797, 69 to 71 Maverick Square. This is section 705.5, fire resistant rating. Be fire resistant rated in accordance with tables 601 and 602 of this section. The required fire resistance rating of exterior walls with a fire separation distance of greater than 10 feet shall be rated for exposure to fire from the inside. The required fire resistance rating of exterior walls with a fire separation distance of less or equal to 10 feet shall be rated for exposure to the fire from both sides. 705.8 openings. Openings in exterior walls should comply with section 705.8.1 through 705.8.6. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Attorney Nick Zazula, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller, 28 State Street, Suite 802. Here in Boston, with me to my left is Nestor Limas, who's the project manager on this project. Briefly, this overall project was approved by the board for zoning, for conversion and renovation of an existing 4-story brick building in East Boston. It was approved for its zoning relief back in October of 2017 to convert the use and occupancy from ground floor retail dry cleaner and the top 3 floors of office use to maintain the retail dry cleaner on the ground floor, but change those upper 3 floors to a residential use. So the project was approved for zoning back about a year ago. The plans at that time were not fully developed in terms of building code relief, fire separation. So we're back in front of the board today for building code relief, and what we're required is due to the fire resistance ratings and the change from that office to the residential use, what we're proposing is an alternative compliance method because the buildings are situated too close together under the building code. What we're alternatively proposing, because this is an existing brick building that's been there for many years, to move the line over, I think we're off by about 2 inches. To move the line over 2 inches, the building over 2 inches to comply is just not feasible, to literally comply with the building code. So what we're proposing is to add extra sprinkler units over each one of those windows facing the side of the subject building that's too close to the abutting building. And that sprinkler system, which is on the plans, was designed in a way in consideration for this specific purpose. These mitigating factors we would suggest, again, an existing very thick brick building located, only 2 inches off from compliance, help to show that we can comply with the building code in a much more feasible manner, cost efficient, and still achieve the same result.
Council, do you have a code consultant on that?
Yes, my understanding is we had Covenant Fire Protection. Mr. Jason Kayan was a licensed fire protection engineer. He was not able to be here today, which is why Mr. Limas is here in his place.
Mr. Gelman, have you had a chance to review?
I have had a chance to review the plans. I will make one suggestion to the plans is that working with Mr. Pisani, we believe that they should have a sprinkler outside the window between the 2 buildings in addition to the inside the window over the window. And we would love that letter from the code consultant, because what was his response?
His response in speaking with the ISD plan reviewer, specifically Mr. Santana, was to put a fire sprinkler suppression system underneath the window directly. because it's a actually four-course layered brick wall. And it's a type 3B construction. So he suggested put it right underneath the window, which would comply, giving everyone fire protection.
Over the window.
Correct. Over the window, yes.
On the inside or the outside?
On the inside.
On the
So
inside.
we'd like an additional one on the outside.
Okay.
Also, in addition to the inside one.
Is that something you can incorporate in your work?
I would have to consult the fire protection engineer because of the weather elements, because of the location of the alley. So I want to make sure whatever we install has a life that can sustain any elements that are coming in that area.
Right.
Because I suspect that if we grant approval, it's going to come with that proviso.
Understood. What, Mr. Galvin, would that be over each window?
Correct. So they're inside the window over each bedroom window, as you can see when they come down, in bedroom 1 and in unit 7, and in bedroom 1 in unit 6. What I'm proposing is an additional sprinkler outside. So, Council, you have options here. You can defer to find out if that works, or we can vote on it today, I would say.
We'd like you to vote on that today, if you wouldn't mind, Mr. Galvin. And I believe we can comply, but we want to double check with the code engineer to make certain.
Can I have a motion then?
I'm going to make a motion to approve with sprinklers inside and outside the window, and a letter from the code consultant. Please.
Second to that one. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Building code, calling BOA 856570, 155 Warren Avenue. This is section 780 CMR 1009.13, stairways to roof, 1009.13. Stairway to roof in buildings 4 or more stories above grade plane. One stairway shall extend to the roof surface unless the roof has a slope steeper than 4 units vertical and 12 units horizontal. 1009.13.1, the roof access. Where stairway is provided to a roof, access to the roof shall be provided through a penthouse complying with this section 1509.2. Name and address for the record, please.
Scott Peltier, 155 Warren Avenue.
Okay, could you briefly describe what you're attempting to do?
So we're attempting to put in a roof hatch in lieu of a head house. We originally designed a roof hatch, but South End Landmarks would prefer a roof hatch for aesthetic reasons. So we presented the plans to the building department, and they rejected that and said we would need to seek a variance because of the building code. So then we met with our neighborhood coordinator, Faiza Sharif, and she had us meet with the Ellis Neighborhood Association and the Parks and Rec Department to get their input, and it was pretty much unanimous that everyone would prefer for aesthetic reasons that we not put up a head house, but we put up a roof hatch instead, and that's what I'm seeking a variance for.
Okay, can the mayor's office speak to that, please?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Faiza Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. While we normally don't speak on building code relief, I do want to acknowledge that we did hold an abutters meeting in this case because it is regarding a roof deck that's going above this house, and it is true vast majority of the neighbors did prefer a hatch over a head house due to the impact on their views and also just the way that it looks in a landmark district. Thank you.
Okay, and the other agencies that the applicant referred to are on board with that?
Everything but the 4 landmarks as they said.
Yes. Mr. Galvin?
The plans are adequate. I do have one question. Are the roof hatches, is it automated?
It has a hydraulic assist.
Hydraulic assist. Okay, and the stairs are stationary, correct? They don't move, no railings move?
Correct.
Or anything like that? Yeah. Okay, I think the plans are adequate.
Okay, can I have a motion then?
Make a motion to approve with, I make a motion to approve.
Yeah, so there's a motion to approve the request for village.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? You're all set.
Thank you.
I'm going to call the cases for 9:30. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 9:30?
Oh, okay.
Well, I've just been informed the extension for East Cottage and Hillsborough is here? Yes. Okay, we'll take them first. Can I get to the record? We're calling for the record, calling BOA 575-700, 65 to 73 East Cottage Street. There are companion cases, BOA 575-702, 67 East Cottage Street. BOA 616-980, 9 to 11 Hillsborough Street. BOA 617-017, 13 to 15 Rear Hillsborough Street. And BOA 617-030, 21 to 23 Rear Hillsborough, and BOA 616-977, 25 to 27 Hillsborough Street. Name and address for the record, please.
My Lamb, 1582 Dorchester Avenue.
Okay, could you explain why you're requesting an extension?
We're requesting an extension to be able to close early next spring. It's a 80-unit project that's low-income and workforce housing, so we need to go through another round of applications with the state, which is actually tomorrow. The submission is tomorrow.
When is your current...
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, Mr. I meant to interrupt. This is their first time in for an extension. This has been in court, so it's just coming out of litigation.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion for a one-year extension.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Thank you.
Now we'll get back to the 930s. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals to 930? Sir, address? I'm sorry, say that again?
36 Shepherd Street, Ward 22.
For the record, calling BOA 850-054, 36 Shepherd Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Dawn Karen, 29 Falcon Street, Brighton, Massachusetts.
And are you seeking a deferral or withdrawal?
Deferred.
Can you explain why?
We submitted amended plans.
Can you speak up a little bit, please?
We submitted amended plans to the ISD and received a refusal letter and for a violation we didn't expect. We'd like to sort that out before we proceed.
Okay. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion for deferral.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
We can do December 18.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 930?
Just a reminder, I will say this is every session of the hearings. We are one person short, and if an applicant would prefer to wait until there is a full board, he or she has the right to request a postponement.
We can call the next three cases. Calling BOA 861-639-90 Antwerp Street. It's two companion cases, BOA 861-658, 16 to 20 Gould Street, and BOA 861-650, 131 to 135 Holton Street. This is for Antwerp Street. This is Building 1, seeking new construction of a 4-story, 14-unit multifamily residential building. This would be one of 3 dwellings located on the same lot. The violation is Article 51, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 51, Section 9, the building height is excessive. Article 51, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Article 51, Section 56, off-street loading is insufficient. Article 51, Section 57, 2 or more dwellings located on the same lot. Article 51, Section 8, a multifamily dwelling is conditional. The only difference in the violation, I'm not going to read all the violations, they are the same, except for the Article 51, Section 9, on the next 2 cases, as the main entrance to the dwelling unit shall face the front lot line. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Chair.
One second.
They're all companion cases. I did.
Sorry, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Joseph Feaster from the law firm of McKenzie & Associates, 183 State Street, Suite 6, Boston, Massachusetts, 02109. To my immediate right is Lauren Pinnock. She is an associate in my office. And to my left is the developer, Cameron Zahidi. This is a project, if I can proceed, Mr. Chairman. This is a project which initiated with an RFP by the Boston Planning and Development Agency, BPDA, back in July of 2017. And my client, which in the name of the project now is U Homes LLC/Urbanica, was the successful awardee of the development in and on December 14th, 2017. This is a project which has, it's a mixed income residential development. Has 20 residential units, which has a mix of large 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units and in-unit laundry facilities. There are 20 on-site parking spaces for residents and 2 visitor parking spaces. There will be bicycle parking, community amenity space, and other support spaces. 12 units will be deeded restricted affordable units, affordable to families earning 80% to or 100% of the AMI, which is the area medium income. And there will also be deed restrictions on the market rate units requiring owner occupancy. Additionally, open space was a consideration in this proposal, and my client has designed a project which allows for 50% of the lot will be dedicated for usable open space. Additionally, the project is designed to be certified at the LEED for homes gold level. The community process was fairly exhaustive in the sense that there, beside meetings that they had regularly, which are held by BPDA in this type of project, there was an open house at the Josephine Florentine Community Center, which was held on April 30th, 2018. And there was a follow-up meeting because there were modifications that were addressed at that particular meeting, which were brought before the community at a meeting on July 16, 2018. The BPDA, the abutters, and the Austin community have embraced this development proposal, and we request the board to grant the variances that are necessary for this project to go forward.
So the variances, just quickly walk us through what the variances are.
As Mr. Fortune had mentioned, there's a variance for off-street parking and loading for, well, I'll start with 90 Antwerp Street first. There is a Article 51, Section 50 sheet off-street parking and loading requirement. I think the issue there is the loading requirement aspect of it, because as you mentioned, we have the requisite parking spaces there. There is the use, Article 51, Section 8, the use regulations. My sense there is that this, in terms of the multifamily aspect of this project, is probably what's in play here with that particular violation. The Article 51, Section 9 is the floor area ratio. And of course, that's affected in most projects that we build here in the city of Boston, simply because of what was historically the circumstances. And here we have the number of units based upon the lot size. The building height issue, I don't have the specific. Oh, what did you say? Because I don't have all the information.
Yeah, this is Cameron Zahedi. I'm the principal of Urbanica, it's a design development firm. On the height, code is for 35, the building's at 42, which is pretty similar to the building surrounding the neighborhood. If I can explain, the site is around 30,000 square feet between, many townhouses that were built for past 15 to 20 years, and some of them here is older. Most of the townhouses around here are between 3 to 4 stories, and we try to create a combination of the open space and similar type of townhouses. However, these townhouses, some of them are connected through the bridges. And the building, the community wanted, like 24 units, and we proposed 20 units because we wanted to give more open space to the community. So that's the question on your height.
Okay. Are all 20 units for sale, or is there a mixture of rental and?
They're all for sale.
And do they all have a deed restriction about owner occupant?
That's correct.
Well, you have the affordable units have the deed restriction, yes, but additionally, there's a deed restriction here for the market rate units for owner occupancy.
So all 20 will end up having that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate.
Is there anybody here to speak in favor of the project?
Members of the board, thank you. My name is Connor Newman, speaking on behalf of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We want to voice our support of this project. We feel it's gone through the correct community process, and we think it's an exciting opportunity for working families in North Brighton and Alston. Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Daniel Polanco on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo. Also like to go on record in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Michael Perez representing the Carpenters Union. We'd like to go on record in support of this parade.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Tony Gisadoro, 80 Raymond Street, Alston. A breath of fresh air, truly affordable, owner-occupied, home ownership, open space in Alston, Brighton. I would like to go on record in support.
Can you describe the mix of the sizes of units in terms of bedrooms?
Yes. There are 20 units. There are 4 one-bedrooms, 6 two-bedrooms, and 10 three-bedrooms.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. You need BPDA? Continue BPDA review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Thank you very much.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 876-064, 240 Lincoln Street. This is to erect a new office building and demolished building. The violation is Article 51, Section 8. The use is forbidden in a 3F 4,000 sub-district. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Summer Tobin at 240 Lincoln Street. So currently we have an office garage building 2 stories, and we would like to demo the building and put up a 3-story office. It will help build a better efficient building. Right now our building doesn't meet the frontage setback. So with the new building, we're actually going to meet the frontage setback of 20 feet. And we hope to get approved today.
Can you describe what the new building will be for and what it will look like?
The building, before we have a typical garage metal building that we leveled out for offices. With the new building, it'll be metal, glass, and some natural stones.
Well, you weren't cited for setback. You were cited for 3F 4,000 sub-district.
Oh yes, with the new building, I was saying that with the existing building, we're only 15 feet from the frontage.
Okay.
But with the new building, we're able to comply with the frontage setback.
So the variance you're seeking is what?
Right now, we're zoned for residential use, and we're seeking office use. So it'll still be our building, and we use it for our construction company.
Mr. Galvin, how are the plans?
The plans are okay. I have a couple of questions. The lot here looks, and this is my inexperience, but is the building going to take up the whole entire lot? I see here that we have some parking to the right.
Yes.
Are any of these spots off of the lot? So in other words, there's 11 spots up to the left, there's 6 spots up to the front, and then there's 15 spots to the right and 13 spots, and then we have a whole strip of land there. Is that strip of land part of this lot?
Yes. So we own the lot next door.
Okay.
So we were using it in conjunction. So it's with ALT 865363. So for parking spot, we are adequate.
So are the parking spots ancillary? Are they on the site? Are they on 2 different sites, the parking?
They're on 2 different lots, yes. But we're using it for specifically for that building. So whatever we accounted for in the drawings is for that building.
Okay. And then the building is only, it's to the far left of the lot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this strip of land is just going to be open space?
Open space, parking, and then landscaping.
Okay, so that's beyond the parking, beyond the 13 spots.
Yeah.
That's going to be all open space there, or what's that going to be?
Open space, yes.
Okay. And do you have any idea what size that is? How much open space is there, do you know?
For parking spots?
After the parking spot, there's still a strip of land to the right-hand side of the parking spot. See where the 13 parking spaces are?
My apologies. Can I?
Let me guess.
Sorry, I'm just gonna look at my
So,
blue drawing.
is G Green Construction, is that building coming down?
Yes.
That one's coming down?
Yes. So
Basically, what we have there is we have a 50 by 125-foot building now, and we've been there since 1980, running the construction company.
Yep.
We just want to take that building down. We're going to kick it a little bit. When we built it, we went over the setback by 5 feet. We're going to correct that, but basically covering the same footprint
Okay.
that we have now.
Okay.
So it's basically the same variance that we had back in 1980.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, can you,
Where are we talking
got a question?
Talking about back here.
So are you talking about the top part?
No. So the proposed building on where I'm sitting is to the left. It says 6,500 square feet footprint, right? Then it says 15 parking spots. Then it says 13 parking spots, correct? It's drawing SP1 that I have.
Sorry, the drawing's been updated a lot. So.
Okay, no problem.
Well, we do have another building right next to that lot,
Next to the 13 parking spots?
on the far right.
Okay, that's not, on this drawing, that's not,
May I show you?
sure, bring them on up.
Okay, while we're...
Mr. Chair, I do have a question. Do we have a problem with the parking being ancillary on 2 different lots? That's a question I don't know the answer to.
They weren't cited for parking.
Okay.
All right, well...
So this is what I'm talking about right here.
Well, okay, so this is an actual building. So we do have an existing building there, and then the one we're tearing down is over here.
Okay, so you have parking here, and this is another building?
Yes.
Okay, so the lot lines are where? Here to here?
The lot line for our building is all the way here. So this is one piece of land.
Yep.
And then this is a second that we use for parking.
This is also parking?
Yes.
Okay.
So all
So
these
where are the,
parking-
okay, so I get that. So where are the 2 lots separated? Here and then here?
Yes, so this solid line.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
So there are going to be 2 buildings on this lot with parking, and then you're going to have all of this extra space here, correct?
yeah, for parking.
Okay. Thank you.
If we outright, we needed 36 parking spaces, and I believe we have 57.
You will have.
We will have 57, but I think we're supposed to have 36.
All right, Mr. Gelman, is that, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application?
Members of the board, my name is Connor Newman, speaking on behalf of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to voice our support of the project. We held an abutters meeting. Overwhelmingly, the abutters were in favor of the project. We received a letter of support from the Alston Civic Association, and I received word from the Brighton Alston Improvement Association that they approved the project with the condition that the BPDA reviews the landscape plan. The city is satisfied with the steps that the applicant has taken. We're voicing our support for it.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Daniel Polanco, also on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo. I'd like to go on record in support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Tony Disidoro, representing the Alston Civic Association. G Green Construction is a longtime family-owned business in Alston, Brighton. Office use is very customary for that portion of Lincoln Street, so we would like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? It appears, is there some conflict between the plans that you were looking at and the plans from Mr. Galvin?
No, I had a second drawing on there, so I had that.
Okay, well, just want to make sure the board has the most current set of drawings. All right, can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review, and just we would like a submittal of a final set of plans.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 855-748, 130 to 140 Brighton Avenue. This is a change of occupancy from a restaurant to a restaurant and bar with live entertainment, karaoke. Violation of Article 51, Section 16. A bar with live entertainment, karaoke is a forbidden use. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Dennis Quilty, attorney, I'm Miller, representing the applicant, with me is Henry Wong, the proponent, applicant for this relief. Good morning.
Are you going to sing your presentation?
I will sing now. I need the board up behind me to see it. Mr. Wong is a very successful operator of a similar location in downtown theater district called Limelight, corner of Boylston and Tremont Street. He's a successful restaurateur in other parts of the city, Chinatown and elsewhere. This site has for a very long time been a bar and restaurant. People ask about Patron right on the corner of Harvard and Brighton. The entire building is other bars and restaurants. The old Sunset Grill was right there. And this is that upstairs space called Patron. Mr. Wong would like to operate a karaoke establishment similar to his Limelight location downtown, where I think very importantly he has a very, very good relationship with the local community and the police in Area A. He has no complaints and violations. Run it very successfully. We continue to do the same here. Met with the Austin Civic Association, had an abutters meeting with Mr. Newton's predecessor, Warren O'Reilly. All went very successfully. We don't believe there's any opposition. And there it is. Any questions we'd be happy to answer.
What are the hours of operation?
It's a 2 a.m. operation, but it's always been a 2 a.m. operation at this location for the license.
And the only issue is the occupancy?
Yes, sir. It's the restaurant with entertainment is the requirement for relief.
Other drawings, Mr. Geller?
The drawings are adequate. I do have one question. The stage, is that being built or is that existing?
I think that has to be built. The restaurant was a bar and restaurant,
okay,
so it didn't have a stage area. So you're building it for your use. Yes.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the applicant?
Members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, the last one on the agenda. We'd like to give our support for this project. We think it's going to be a good addition to the Austin nightlife. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Daniel Polanco on behalf of Councilor Mark Siomo, also like to go on record in support.
Tony Disadoro, representing the Austin Civic Association, would like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to approve. I don't think we'll need BPDA design review, so just a motion to approve. Exterior for signage and,
There'll be no change. It will be just.
Yeah, it's just a change in the use.
any grates on the building or anything like that?
I'm sorry.
Grates on the building? Okay. So just,
Second. I second.
There's a motion for approval and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Calling BOA 810-882, 40 Harding Road. This is erect a new 4-story residential building with 9 residential units and 9 parking spaces and a garage at grade. Violations, Article 67, Section 32, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 67, Section 8, the multifamily dwelling is forbidden use. Article 67, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 67, Section 9, the building height is excessive in stories. Article 67, Section 9, the building height is excessive in feet. Article 67, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 67, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. And Article 67, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Attorney John Pelgini, 10 Forbes Road, Braintree. With me is Alex Harding, who is the owner of this property right now. James Christopher's here, but not sitting at this table. So the proposal before you is 40 Harding Road, zoning is 2F 5000. We are proposing on this property, which is 9,375 square feet, 9 units with 9 parking spaces. The required relief, we have lot width required is 50, we're at 75, frontage 50, we're at 75, FAR 0.5, we're at 1.4. Height is 35 feet, 2.5 stories, we're at 4 stories, 31 feet, and then in one section we have a step-back penthouse, which is 40 feet. Front yard is 20, we're at 8 to 9 feet, staying within the line of the modal. Side yard 10 and 10, and rear yard 40, and we're at 14.2. We went through a robust community process. We had an abutters meeting. We're in a great abutters meeting where people were supportive of the project, and then we went on to the Mount Hope Civic Association. Again, it was a great meeting with them as well, and they were both supportive. They didn't take a vote. The unit sizes are, this is 9 units to be comprised of 7 2-bedrooms, 2 bath units. Those will range in size from 1,088 to 1,867 for the penthouse. And then there are 2 bedrooms, excuse me, 2 1-bedrooms with 2 baths, and those are 903 square feet.
Okay. Are these rental uses?
I'm sorry?
Rental or for sale?
These are condos, for sale.
All of them. Okay. We have four, they are height, and open space. Okay. How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Drawings are adequate. Do we have any, there's no living space in the basement, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Joe Coppinger, representing the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of this project. Like John said, they did present to the Mount Hope Civic Group. It was received well as held in a butters meeting back in June by Keith Williams. Again, we would like to go on record in support of this project. Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you very much.
Calling BOA 859604, 522 to 530 River Street. This is to change Oxley to include a classroom for healthcare training. The second floor, suite 600, no work is needed. The violation is Article 60, Section 16. Professional school is a conditional use and will require variance. Name and address for the record, please. Name and address for the record, please.
Hi to the King Street, Marathon.
Okay, can you tell us what you're proposing?
Student training, home health care training.
Home health care training?
Yes.
Okay, so the issue, there's no work being done, it's a question of changing occupancy use. What is it now?
I don't know exactly what they're doing now. They only want to change the occupation. It's it now.
Any questions to the board? Mr. Galvin, how are the drawings?
The plans seem adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, Whitney Celestin here with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We held an abutters meeting for this project. It's just a small office space. We see no bother in the community. We support this project.
How many square feet are we talking about this office? Okay, it's small, right?
Yeah, it's small.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with just straight approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Calling BOA 881-003, 7 Clementine Park. This is off-street parking for 2 vehicles. The violation is Article 9, Section 1, extension of a non-conforming use. Article 10, Section 1, limitation of off-street parking. Article 65, Section 65-41, maneuverability. And Article 65, Section 9, usable open space. Name and address for the record, please.
This is my name is the homeowner of the 7 Clementine Park in Dorchester.
Your name?
Pat.
Okay, can you tell us what you are proposing?
So we're looking for the parking space for the 2 vehicles for my property on that street.
Yeah, can you speak louder, please? That doesn't amplify, it just records, so you have to speak up.
We're looking for the 2 parking space for my property because during the snow time we had a difficult looking for the parking space on that street. And we next to the subway, so people parking and taking the spot all day long. So when I get home to work, and we got a difficult time to looking for a parking space.
So are you putting a driveway in? Are you proposing that? Is there a curb cut there now, or you just put a curb cut? And the driveway can accommodate 2 spaces?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Galvin, have you?
Yeah, the drawing that I have here has one of the proposed spots 8.5 by 20, and the other 8.5 by 20. In essence, the second spot makes it front yard parking.
Mr. D'Amico, have you taken a look at this?
I have, and I agree. It's front yard parking, and it's also potential for an overhang, since it's so small, that the second car might have the potential to overhang the sidewalk.
Into the
And-
street?
Well, right over the sidewalk.
Okay.
And there's also handicap parking in front of this house as well.
Which would be eliminated by the curb cut?
It would be very tight squeeze between the two driveways, and the one that's there now and the new one. It would be a very, very tight.
Okay, since I don't know the drawings, is it possible for the driveway to go deeper to avoid?
No, there's a bay there, Mr. Chairman. There's a bay there that it won't fit by.
Okay. Okay, and I saw from the BPDA comments that you also recommend denial.
Yes, because it is front yard parking, and again, you know, otherwise it would be a 1-to-1 ratio, and that's privatizing the on-street parking that's already there. It's a tough situation. It's right at Shawmut Station, but it's still, you know, it would only be one space. There's no benefit to the city.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the applicant?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Patrick Mandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We held an abutters meeting on August 1st with full support of the abutters in the area. So we would like to go on support for this project.
Despite the fact that this is front yard parking?
Yeah, the proximity to the Shawmut Station, parking in the area is already congested as it is. The neighborhood felt that these two parking spots taken off the street would help alleviate some of those concerns.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
I want to make a motion to deny. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Sorry, your motion is denied.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 793-337, 10 Bloomington Street. Bloomington Street here? Okay. This is an enclosed existing deck on the right side of the building and stairway. Violations, Article 65, Section 9, the floor to area ratio is excessive, and Article 65, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Win. I live at 41 Thomas Street in Rochester. I'm here with my brother. He can help me translate to English.
David Wynn, 10 Blooming Street, Dorchester, Mass. at 02122.
Can you tell us what you're proposing?
Chị đã lúc kia này chị trả nước cho nên chị làm 2 lần rồi chị đã cover
When she purchased the home, there was a leak right in the front of the house. So she tried to repair it twice, and it just failed. So she covered that section where the patio is, and it works ever since.
Okay, so the work has already been done?
Yes, sir.
All right, and so the deck was, what is the work? That it's been enclosed? The deck has been enclosed, is that correct?
Yes, it was
All right, and that was done in order to correct the leak?
Yes, sir.
So this is a violation. Mr. Calvin, how are the drawings?
The drawings are adequate.
Okay. So the problem that this created is you have an excessive FAR now and side yard position. When did you discover that this was a problem? Because you went ahead and did the work, right?
Yes.
And when did you discover that this was a problem? Did the inspector come out?
Summer about last year.
And how did that happen?
The tenants who were occupying the space at the time kept complaining there's water leakage inside the house.
No, I'm not asking about the leak. I'm asking about, you're here because there's a violation. How did that violation get noticed or recorded?
Because she did the work, but then she didn't ask or apply for a permit.
Okay.
And then
Okay, so an inspector came by or something?
Yes.
Okay. All right, is there anyone here to speak in favor of the applicant?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Patrick Fandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We're here to speak in support of this project. The community process to correct this violation was conducted under the previous liaison, David Cotter, and they have been working with the appropriate members of ISD to correct their violations, so we are here to speak in support of that.
And the applicant has been informed that they did this without a permit, which is appropriate, correct? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor, Frank Baker's office, would like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
I'm going to make a motion to approve, just straight approval. The work is done. I drove by there.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, this has been, your work has been approved, but in the future, if you're going to do some work in advance, you have to get a permit. You can't come here after the fact.
We understand that.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Oh, you're all set.
Thank you very much for all your time.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 853-708, 17 Ashton Street.
Is there a companion case too?
Mr. You're going to move forward on all, you want to do all 4 or you want to do all 8? I know they're separated. I'm sorry? All 8? All right. So we'll take them individually because we have 4 wrapped up and 4 wrapped up with different addresses. So this is a companion case or other companion cases. BOA 853-711, 114 Floyd Street. BOA 853-712, 116 Floyd Street. I'm sorry, and BOA 853-710, 19 Ashton Street. What I'm going to do is do those 4, and then we'll do the next 4, because you guys can stay there. So this is for 17. This is subdivide lot into 2 lots. Lot A, 2,622 square feet, and Lot B, 2,276 square feet, and erect a new semi-attached single-family dwelling unit in Lot A. Proposed 1 off-street parking. Dwelling is attached to 19 Ashton. Project is part of the Neighborhood Homes Initiative. Violations Article 60, Section 9, the lot area is insufficient, and Article 60, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. This is for 19 Ashton. It's the same proposal, semi-attached single-family dwelling, a newly created Lot B, 2,276 square feet with 1 off-street parking. The violations Article 60, Section 9, the lot area is insufficient. Article 60, front yard is insufficient. This is for 114 Floyd Street. This is a subdivide lot into 2 lots, Lot A to be 3,047 square feet and Lot B to be 3,287 square feet. Erect a new semi-attached single-family dwelling unit on Lot A and propose 1 off-street parking. The dwelling is attached to 116 Floyd Street. Violations Article 10, Section 1, limitation area, location of off-street parking shall not be less than 5 feet from the side lot line, and Article 60, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. And 116 Floyd Street is a newly created lot of 3,287 square feet with off-street parking and the same violations as the previous. So we'll do these 4 and then we'll go to the next ones. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ralph Parent, 15 Green Oak Street, Dorchester 02124.
I'm Rashmi Ramaswamy with Rodi Architects, 535 Albany Street.
Okay, can you describe the project, please?
Yes, this development's for neighborhood housing.
Just ask anybody who comes up here just to speak up, because it's very hard hearing, a lot of acoustics here. If you could speak up, that'd be great.
This development is for the Neighborhood Homes Initiative through the Department of Neighborhood Development. These homes are semi-attached single-family homes, 6 of which are affordable homes. We're seeking minor variances to develop these vacant lots, which at one point did have 2 family homes on them.
How long ago did they have homes?
These homes were approximately 30 years ago. They were demolished by the city.
Okay, so it's been vacant ever since?
They've been vacant, yes. Vacant foreclosed land.
Okay, all right. And the variances that you're seeking have to do with front yard and side yard?
Yes.
That's it? All right. How are the drawings? Before we move to that, can you describe a little bit the program, the Neighborhood Homes Initiative?
Yes, this is planned by the Department of Neighborhood Development, where they're developing affordable homes and market rate homes on vacant land. 2/3 of the homes are affordable, and 1/3 are market rate homes. And they send out RFPs to various developers who respond to them to develop these properties for them.
And these are all for sale, this home?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So we're doing them in 4 and 4.
Yes.
How many units are we talking about in the first floor?
So the 114 is 3-bedroom, 116 is 3-bedroom, and then 17 is 4-bedroom, 17 Ashton, and 19 Ashton is 4-bedroom.
The drawings are adequate. Actually, they're good. Better than adequate.
Beyond adequate.
Beyond adequate.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of this project. It will bring much-needed affordable housing opportunities to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Members of the board, Carl G. Lewis, on behalf of Council President Campbell's office, we'd like to go on record on support.
Members of the board, Representative Holmes, would like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPLD design review.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Mr. Chair, call the next 4 cases, BOA 865-750-105 Stratton Street, BOA 865-747-107 Stratton Street, BOA 865-744-123 Stratton Street, and BOA 865-742-125 Stratton. For 105 Stratton, this is subdivided lot into 2 lots, Lot A to be 2,846 and Lot B to be 3,114. Erect a new semi-attached single-family dwelling, proposed 1 off-street parking. Dwelling is attached to 107. The violation of Article 60, Section 9, front yard is insufficient. This is 107 Stratton. Erect a new semi-attached in a newly created lot of 2,846, 1 off-street parking. And this is attached to 105. The violation is the same. Article 60, Section 9, front yard is insufficient. This is for 123 Stratton Street. This is subdivided lot, Lot A to 3,156, and Lot B to be 2,873, and erect a new single-family dwelling, Lot A, proposed 1 off-street parking. Violation of Article 60, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. And for 125 Stratton, this is the created Lot B of 2,873 square feet for 1 off-street parking, and the same violation, Article 60, Section 9, front yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Ralph Parent, 15 Greenock Street, Dorchester, Mass. 02124.
I'm Rashmi Ramaswamy with Rhodey Architects, 535 Albany Street.
Okay, I assume that these 4 are similar concept, same set of issues?
Yeah, so there is one relief that has not been identified on this that is shown on the drawings, and for 105, 107 Stratton, it's actually the side yard that's insufficient, if you wouldn't mind looking at the drawings.
Side yard as well as front yard.
So front yard meets modal requirements, but the side yard is just, one of the side yards is insufficient.
What is the side yard and what is the requirement?
So
You weren't cited for side yard, but you were cited for
I think it
front.
might have been a typo, and I don't know why it was not shown correctly. But on my zoning table, you can see that the 7'10" for one of them, and I think the other one is 8 something. So this is for 105, 107 Stratton.
Yeah, I have 107 Stratton and 105 Stratton, and it says that the side yard is 8 feet 5 inches and 9 feet 6 inches on the
Yeah.
other side.
So it's less than what's required, and that's the relief we're seeking. I just want to make sure we're getting the
But we
right
can't-
relief.
It's not a violation, so what?
Okay. If it's not cited,
If you weren't cited, it's not, it's a
okay,
non-issue.
then that's fine.
All we can do is respond to the citation.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Okay, how are these drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Again, you know, the architect spent time, this is Neighborhood Homes Initiative, but they spent time to make them look, they're really nice layouts, they're really nice drawings. They spent the extra time. I think they're beautiful.
Beyond that.
No, they're beautiful.
For the record, is there anyone here who wants to speak in favor of this application?
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would once again like to go on record in support of this project. Thank you.
Members of the board, call Gene Lewis, representing Council President Campbell's office. We'd like to go on record in support.
Russell Holmes, on record to support. State Representative.
Is there anyone here in opposition? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 868-750, 89 Sydney Street. This is removing the existing wood structure, the foundation to remain, and building a new three-story building. The violation is Article 65, Section 41, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive, and Article 65, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Charlie Tevden, representing the applicant of 15 Broad Street, Boston. I'm expecting my client, Michael Ferrara, but he was delayed, and I asked that we go forward. The project is a proposed three-family dwelling in a three-family 2,000 district on a 2,800 square foot lot. The community process started in June with a meeting before the Columbia Savin Hills Civic Association Planning Committee meeting. There was an abutters meeting in August, a return to the Planning Committee in September, and a presentation to the full Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association in October. The community process entailed a exchange of suggestions from abutters and neighbors and the community, which included some design changes, or resulted in some design changes, including removal of a cantilever on the first floor to the right of the building, which would permit the driveway to be extended to accommodate up to 3 vehicles, which would be tandem, and also to remove the second and third floor office rooms that were designated as an office, and instead to create a second bathroom in each unit, and to reduce the total number of bedrooms or potential bedrooms, and finally to remove the basement bedroom, and instead the proposal is it is now just a family room. As far as the violations are concerned, the rear yard setback is actually, there is an additional 20 feet between the actual lot line and what is considered the backyard. And that is because it is up next to the MBTA right-of-way. There is a brick wall between the property, the right-of-way, and the MBTA tracks. So even though we are requesting relief on the rear yard setback on the property, there is actually more rear yard than it appears. On the floor area ratio, what is required is 1.3 and what is proposed is 1.62. The average size of each unit is approximately 1,200 square feet. The proposed building will be a three-family dwelling in between 2 existing three-family dwellings and located pretty exactly in the middle between Savin Hill MBTA station and Columbia, or rather JFK UMass.
The application calls for removing existing wood structure. What is there now?
There is a single-family dwelling, and the project will reuse the existing foundation.
The footprint of the proposed building is the same as the
Yes.
footprint of the existing? Okay, but is there a difference in the height?
Yes, the existing height is, it's a cape. So the existing height is only 1 story. The The building height that's proposed is 33 feet. The maximum building height is 40 feet, so,
All right, so you're not citing this as
no.
Okay, how are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Well, the drawings seem adequate. I just do have one question. So I don't have new drawings that show the bathrooms, Counselor.
They are in the packet that...
At ISD?
No, that was just distributed, and I do believe that they are at ISD, and Mr. Ferrara was bringing the full set to this hearing, and he was delayed, but I promise they will be filed and made part of the record.
Great.
With respect to the rear yard setback, I mean, the brick wall that you described between the lot and the MBTA right away.
It's approximately 20 feet beyond the rear lot line, so there is still an additional 20 feet.
Right, but that's not part of the property.
It is not, no.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think everybody considers it their backyard.
But
Or
there's
it
a brick
appears that
wall, I think you said.
it's the MBTA brick
Yeah,
wall.
so you can't access that?
No.
Okay, all right. The parking, you are proposing 3 spots. Mr. D'Amico, you looked at this, it looks like the front spot would be right up against the sidewalk.
I have not seen these plans.
Okay, can someone give, you have an extra set of what you distributed? Yeah. Yeah, if you look at the third page, Mr. D'Amico, in S11, it shows the third car being right up against the sidewalk.
Would it be possible to push the parking up at all? Because you got that third car is right on the sidewalk edge.
I do believe it is now that the cantilever has been removed. There's it extends an additional 40 feet.
Well, what Mr. D'Amico's asking, could it extend further into the...
I believe so, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to have the third car, go no further than the front of the house.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'd like to put that in as a proviso, that the third car not protrude beyond the front of the house.
That's why I asked you, that's exactly why I asked you to look at it. Okay, any questions from the board? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Patrick Vandell, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The applicant had an abutters meeting on August 15th and met with the Columbia Savin Hill Association 2 times. I would also like to note that the applicant was very quick to make changes given some of the abutters' concerns. So we would like to go on record in support of this project.
We're here in possession of a letter from the Columbia Savin Hill Civic Association, appears to be in opposition.
So they voted to allow a 2-family, but they still were quick to meet with the association. So we would go on record in support of the existing plan.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor, Frank Baker's office, we'd like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion, please?
I have a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review with special attention to the driveway.
Well, can we be more specific? Can we have a provision that the driveway be extended such that the front car doesn't protrude past the front of the house?
Correct.
I'll take that as an amendment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, with that proviso, you're all set.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
It's now 10:40. I'm going to call 10:30 hearings. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? Address, please.
68 Forest Street.
Say it again, I'm sorry.
68 Forest Street.
That's a 9:30.
Are you deferring, sir?
Yes, deferred.
That's a 9:30 cases.
Yes, I was just informed by the neighborhood rep that I should defer.
All right. Make a motion for deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
We have a date of December 18th.
Thank you.
Hold on a second, sir. So that was 9:30. This is for 10:30 only. Deferrals or withdrawals? Address, sir?
1030.
Yeah, address.
10 O Street, South Boston.
Okay. Hold on a second. Calling BOA 874-670, 10 O Street. Name and address for the record, please.
Harry Minucci, 894 East Broadway.
Make a motion.
Why do you need, are you looking for a deferral or withdrawal?
Deferral.
And why do you need a deferral?
Per request of the mayor's office.
Or a motion?
I'll make a motion for a deferral. Can we have a quick date on that one?
The quickest we can get is 11/27.
Sounds great.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, you're all set. Thank you. And again, I'm required to inform everybody on the 10:30 that we are operating with one person short on the board, and if any petitioner would like to wait until we have a full board, they can do so by asking to respond.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if I called in the 9:30 for the record, so I'm going to do it again. BOA 853-785, 68 Forest Street was deferred to December 18th. So calling the next case for 9:30, calling BOA 804-787, 2-4. I'm sorry.
Pardon me. Can I make it a later date than the 27th?
We can get you next year if you like, whatever you like.
Not really.
Yeah. We can do the 18th or we can do the 11th.
Of
December 11th. Okay, we'll do December 11th
sorry.
instead of 11/27.
Thank you.
December 11th, correct.
Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 10:30? Okay. I think I just called Woodward Park. BOA 804-787, 2-4 Woodward Park Street. This is seeking to combine parcel to form one parcel with 4,500 square feet. Also to erect a 3-story dwelling with 3 residential units and 3 parking spaces to be accessed from a new curb off of Folsom Street. The violation is Article 50, Section 29, insufficient lot size, 5,000 square feet is the minimum required. Article 50, Section 29, insufficient additional lot area per unit, 2,500 square feet unit. Article 50, Section 29, excessive FAR. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano with an address of 50 Broad Street, representing Mr. Seahu, who is the owner, developer, proposed developer for 2-4 Woodward Park, and I also have James Christopher from RCA, whose office handled the drawings. As was mentioned, we're seeking zoning relief to combine 2 parcels of land to form one new lot with 4,500 square feet. We're proposing to erect a 3-story condominium building with 3 residential units and 3 off-street parking spaces off of Folsom Street. This particular zoning district is a 3F 5,000. The proposed building height is 33 feet 8 inches. As was mentioned, the lot area is 4,500. The building area is 4,000 square feet, and we have a proposed FAR of 0.89. Just to go over the makeup of the units, they're all 3-bedroom, 2-bath, with kitchen and living area with decks. All of the units, so Unit 1 and Unit 2 is 1,133 square feet. Unit 3, 1,207 square feet. The violations that we were cited for, 1, the lot size required 5,000, we're at 4,500. FAR was allowed was 0.80, we're at 0.89. And then because of the 3rd unit, the 2,500 square feet additional space would be needed on the lot as well for minimum lot area. And there was a traffic visibility because we are on a corner where the curb cut is located as well. We had 2 abutter meetings out at the property. We switched this project from rental to condominium based on feedback that we heard from neighbors. And we also worked with the Folsom Garden Square on some beautification needs that they had as well, because they are in a butter directly across the street from us, and they were also very supportive of the project. At this time, I can pause for any questions that the board may have.
The existing curb cut on Woodward Park Street, would that be eliminated?
It would be, yes, correct.
How are the drawings, Mr. Kelvin?
The drawings are adequate. Is there any building code relief on this?
There was none cited, no.
None cited, okay. The drawings are adequate.
Okay, are there any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good
Do
morning,
you speak
Mr.
in
Chair.
opposition or in favor?
I don't support.
Okay.
I read because.
You're speaking.
You'll get a chance to speak in opposition.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisa Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. There were two abutters meetings that were held. They have incorporated some of those feedback into their current proposal, and they have also agreed to beautify the areas around the lot in question. I know that there are some concerns from one of the direct abutters, but in both meetings that we had, there was adequate support for the project. Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Sir? Would you like to speak? Go to the microphone, podium. Put your name and address in on the record, please.
Okay, ladies, English. Good morning. My name is Dennis Centeio. My address is 6 Woodward Park Street, Chester, 02125. I live in this building almost 32 years. I know long time ago much problems in this area, violence, drugs, for a long time ago. I support this lots number 2, number 4, cut glass, because not only for the 88, 89, only, and this time, only abandoning this lots. After the state coming up, on started, I make some thing over here. In 2018, I'm sorry I don't speak clear because I can't pay my thing. 2018, 2008, I there. For 72, for make house over there. You need also. No. No sufficient for make house over there. 4,000 square feet or 5,000 square feet. So now, by play, it's still good bullshit. 2008, nobody can watch the land. 2009, no. 2010, no. 2011, no. 2012, no. Nobody can take care of this land. I think this, also sleep, in that one, big bench, start from my door, until also sleep.
Okay, sir, we don't, we need to respect the time.
Thank you.
Just say why you're opposed to it, okay?
Why are you opposed?
Why are you opposed? We don't need the whole history. We
Okay.
want to know why you're opposed to this particular application.
Because I know, many house over here. Big problem coming by drugs, violence, drugs, etc., etc. Okay. I know this area for long, almost 32 years ago. I know 37 purposely. Every week, police over there, firemen over there, for domestic violence. Now, I support domestic violence by this. I support Pine Street. Pine Street is offer.
Okay, sir, all we want you to do is just very quickly say what the problem with this proposal is. We don't need the whole history of the neighborhood.
Okay, okay. No, it's private house over there. It's more problem over there. Number one, it's not sufficient. It's coming close from my building. It's too close for my building.
All right, so proximity.
I don't need my street, my neighborhood, don't.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, God bless you.
Okay. All right. Pardon me?
Is it okay if I respond?
Yeah.
So the lot was neglected
That's
for a long
correct.
time, and I think he might have even helped
He's been
cleaning
cleaning
it.
it.
Could you speak up, Counselor?
I'm sorry. The lot was neglected for a number of years prior to my client buying. He's only owned it recently. So when we had the abutter meeting, we did speak to him, seeing that was a big concern because it was neglected for so long. We want to work with him on any fencing on his side, garden buffering, anything like that. We'll continue to work with him. We've also tried to talk to him outside here today, but we want to work with him.
No, the issues that he's raising are important.
Right, and then there's a 6-unit next to us on one side, and there's a number of 3, so we felt we tried to be reasonable in the proposal and also provide the parking, but we want to clean up the lot.
So can I ask some specific questions? So the 6 units that's next to him is, I believe that's all rental, right?
Correct.
And what you're building is all home ownership?
Correct.
All right, and are they, do we have any idea? None of that is affordable, though? It's just regular market rate housing that you're building?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and they're market rate condos?
They would be condominiums, yeah.
Okay.
And the community did suggest the condominiums when we were out.
Yeah.
Okay, for stability.
Yeah.
Okay, we understand. Okay.
And you, I'm sorry, and you've agreed to all that buffering and the screening for him
Correct.
already?
And we'll continue to work with him.
Excellent.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other,
One second, please.
are there any other questions from the board? Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with BPDA review.
Second.
And the continuation of work with the neighbor.
Yeah, could I further amend that to ask that we honor what was said on the table here, the buffering and screening and continuing to work with the abutters?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, very good.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 856-234, 43 Rockland Street. This is 12 additional parking for the church to relieve street parking. The violations, Article 50, Section 50-41.2, screening and buffering shall be provided within a residential subdistrict. Article 50, Section 28, ancillary parking is a conditional use for this location. And Article 50, Section 43, location, no parking shall be located in any part of the required front yard. Name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Russell Holmes, 80 Goodale Road. The Church of Christ in Roxbury, located at 81 Walnut Avenue, has been there for 70 years, and we have been expanding, and we bought the lot right behind it to put a curb cut in to get some additional parking 10 years ago or so. And the location of Rockland and Walnut has a very bad intersection, and so we've been losing parking that was street parking to 2 bus stops, and then we also lost some street parking to just no parking from here to the corner because we looked to try to get a traffic light, and BTD came out and said that really what we needed to do was not put a traffic light there, but to try to make more line of sights. And so we own the property across the street, and when the folks came in to put in new streets and come in to put in new sidewalks, they put a temporary asphalt ramp in and stored all of the equipment there on the lot, and they put some temporary asphalt down, and so we've been using it for 4 or 5 years. And so we want to now move to not just use it just as an ad hoc parking, but to actually remove the asphalt, put in the curb cut, and actually put in the 12 other spots that we think would be good. We also want to fence it off because, as you can imagine, anywhere in the city, folks seem to just use the lot for whatever they want. They have parties. They thought it was all of a sudden their garage, where literally we go out there and people are repairing cars in the lot, and we moved from them off the lot into the street, and we've been just trying to encourage them not to use the lot. So we're hoping to put up a fence and put the curb cut in and use it primarily for Sunday and Wednesday overflow.
Okay, thank you. How are the drawings, Mr. Gillen?
The drawings are adequate. What size are the spots, Counselor?
I'm gonna ask Todd if he has, I don't actually have the drawings. Is Todd there? I thought that was Todd Lemon, no?
Joe.
Okay. It's Bob.
Do we have sizes of the spaces?
I looked at the plans, and there are no sizes of the spaces on the plans. So I really don't know how big they are.
Are
They
there
have,
overall dimensions?
they're all the same, but they have to be at least 8.5 by 20.
Right.
And there's no way of knowing what they are because there's no scale put on the plans. But I would approve it based on the proviso that each space be a minimum of 8.5 by 20.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the proposal?
Representative, I have one question regarding the ownership of the parcel, the proposed lot is in the control of the church?
It is. The other thing I would add is we've been going back and forth for a couple of years. We did have, obviously, letters from the abutters 4 or 5 years ago. Josh McFadden and the team asked us to go out again. We got new letters for all the abutters on the street because it's primarily Rockland that is going to see the parking because we try not to park on the main road.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. It's a bit of a no-brainer. This is an issue faced by many faith institutions across the city, and we believe that this parking will help the church, but more importantly, help the neighborhood alleviate this, the impact of street parking that currently exists. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve with BPDA design review for screening and buffering.
Can I make just an amendment to that, that we make sure that the spots are 8.5 by 20? By 20.
Minimum, yes.
Second.
All right, with that, there's been a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 844-017, 3247 to 3249 Washington Street. This is to seek to erect a 3-story building with 3 residential units and 2 parking spaces. In violation of Article 10, Section 1, a limitation of area, parking area. Article 50, Section 29, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 50, Section 29, the lot size to erect a 3-family dwelling is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the floor area ratio is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the front yard setback requirement is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the side yard requirement is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the rear yard setback requirement is insufficient. And Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking requirement is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jeff Drago and Toscano with an address of 15 Broad Street. Attorney for City Realty. We have Josh Fetterman, one of the principals, and I have Tanya Carrier, who's the architect on the project as well. Again, we're seeking zoning relief to erect a 3-story building with 3 residential units and 2 parking spaces at 3247-3249 Washington Street in Jamaica Plain. Particular lot size is 2,600 square feet. And we've worked for the better part of 8 months on a number of modifications to get the support of the JPNC, as well as work with Eggleston Square Community Group over that period on changes. This particular zoning district is a 3F 4,000. Proposed total building square footage would be 3,884 square feet with a current building height of 3 stories, 32 feet. Our original proposal was a 4-story building with 5 units and 4 parking spaces. Over that period of 8 months, we've cut back on our square footage of 1,597 square feet, going down from 5,481 to 3,884. As was mentioned, our units have gone from 5 to 3. Our stories have gone from 4 to 3 in height. Our height has gone from 44 feet to 32 feet. Our front yard has gone up from 2 feet to 4 feet 3 inches, and our rear yard has gone from 6 inches to 9 feet 5 inches. The units are all 2-bedroom, 2-bath. 1,048 square feet is the first floor. 1,201 square feet is the second and third. As was mentioned, we did get the support of the JPNC on this project, and we really worked diligently on design and modification for the community over that period of time. We can pause for any questions that the board may have.
This is right down the street from my house. I'm very familiar with the lot. The parking parking is underneath there's a cantilever? Is that how this is going to work on the Cornwall Street side?
Yes, one of the parking spaces is underneath, and one is out in the open.
To the side?
Correct.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Right, adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Alex Valdez, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record to support and also state that the Jamaica Plain Neighborhood Council voted to support the project. They had several meetings with the Eggleston Square Neighborhood Association and also made a lot of changes to the plans throughout the time. Again, we would like to echo our support.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Will Poff Webster from City Councilor Matt O'Malley's office. We'd also like to go on record in support, aside from the merits of the project on a vacant lot in Jamaica Plain. We also want to commend City Realty for their work that they're expected to continue with the Neighborhood Association on broader issues, and trust that there will be sincere efforts in that regard. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Paul Sullivan, on behalf of City Council at Large Michael Flaherty, Council to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Again, so these are going to be 3 condos, right?
This is a rental project.
These are rentals, but there's 3 units and 2 parking spaces. Are parking spaces designated by the unit or first come, first serve?
We'll do first come, first serve. We see that some of the tenants we're getting don't have cars, so we don't want to bundle it with the unit.
Any questions to the board? Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BPDA design review. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Calling the next case, calling BOA 850-178, 235 Northampton Street. This is to extend first floor living space into the basement with new bedrooms and bath, and renovate the basement with new walls, floors, and ceiling. The violation is Article 9, Section 1. The existing building already has excessive floor-to-area ratio. Newly converted space will do an add to a non-conformance. Article 50, Section 29, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Barbara Redden. I have lived and occupied 235 Northampton Street since 1995.
Yes, my name is Hezekiah Pratt. I'm the architect for the project. I've been working with Ms. Redden since 2012. Just a brief history. This project started out in 2012 with a much larger addition on the rear. At that time, the board approved that project. However, Mrs. Redden did not move forward because it was a fairly larger project for her to tackle at that time, and she decided to wait. Now, that approval has expired. What has happened is that currently she lives on the top 3rd and 4th floor. She's having problems trying to negotiate the stairs. What she would like to do is move to the first and the basement area as well. The basement actually is a ground floor because there is access out of the rear, on-grade access out of the rear on the ground floor level. So the proposal is for her to move to the first floor, where she would have a kitchen, living room, and half bath. She would then occupy the hopefully proposed basement renovation, which will include 2 bedrooms, a bath, a closet. It's also important to mention that the basement ceiling height will be 7 feet 6 inches. Also, there are currently common utilities in the basement. They will be located, that is the gas and also electrical panels and meters will be located to a common area as per code. Thank you.
So the, how many floors altogether?
There are 4 floors, basement, including first, second, third, and fourth.
Oh, okay, so including basement.
Yes, and she's renting, I think the 3rd floor is rented already? The 4th floor, 3rd and 4th is rented. She's currently living in tight quarters in the 1st floor, so she desperately needs the basement because formerly she had the 3rd and 4th floor. She's essentially what she's doing is taking over 1st floor in ground level.
Okay, and you said the ceiling height in the basement is 7'6"?
7'6", yes.
And what, I don't have the plan, so what's the access from the basement to the first?
The access, two access. One out of the bedroom would be a access window as per code, minimum max 44 inches from the floor, and the window will be of size given the code requirement. Also, there is a common hallway, not a common hallway, but there is a hallway that leads from both bedrooms out of a rear exit door, which is actually on grade out to the alley and there to a street as well.
And the access between the first floor and the basement will be?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, there's a new stairway. No, what she's doing is there's an existing stair from the first floor to the basement. She's going to make the proper enclosures and include that in her apartment. So she's not occupying any common space in order to get to the basement. It'll be private space.
How will the upper floors get to the basement?
I'm sorry?
How will the upper floors get to the basement?
The upper floors don't need access to the basement because all the common utilities will be relocated. There is a common stair that goes from the first floor to the upper floors, and there are currently fire balconies on the rear of the building, which is typical to a lot of south end townhouses.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate. I have one question. The windows in the back for the bedrooms, they will have stairwells and they'll have access as they'll be used as...
The windows in the back?
Yes.
In the basement?
In the basement, yes.
Yeah, those are large windows. Those are actually, I think, they're 30 by 5 feet, so those are fairly large windows. The height, the floor height is about only 2 feet, so those are fairly large windows in the rear.
Will they be used as emergency exits?
I'm sorry?
Will they be used as emergency exits?
Yes, they
Are
can.
they going to be window wells?
No, it's no need to, because the bedroom on the back has ground access.
Okay.
The window wells are only on the front for the bedroom.
Okay.
Front bedroom.
Okay. And the window wells, the front bedroom will have window wells, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I did hold an abutters meeting on this, and her neighbors did support the project. We also had a civic association meeting regarding this as well, and they were also in support. It's really a modest proposal. The whole point is to make the basement more accessible for the owner. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor, Frank Baker's office, would like to go on record in support.
Anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay.
I may also add, we have letters from Chester Square Neighborhood Association. We met with them, and also we had a fairly successful butters meeting as well.
There's no exterior work involved in this, right?
I'm sorry?
No exterior work
No,
involved?
no, not contemplated at this time.
Okay, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Calling the last case for 9:30, calling BOA 835-797, 69 Burrell Street. This is a change occupancy from 3 residential units of commercial spaces to 5 residential units and construct a new exterior spiral staircase. The violation is Article 50, Section 28, the multifamily dwelling is forbidden use. Article 50, Section 29, the additional lot area is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the usable open space is insufficient. Article 50, Section 29, the side yard is insufficient. Article 50, Section 43, off-street parking is insufficient. And Article 9, Section 2, this is a change in non-conforming use. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Matt Eckel. I'm an attorney with Drago and Toscano. It's the business address of 15 Broad Street in Boston. With me today is James Christopher from RCA, the project architects, and Oli Elisa from K&K Development. As mentioned, we're here this morning seeking to change the occupancy from 3 residential units and 2 commercial spaces to 5 residential units, and also to construct that exterior spiral staircase for rear egress. As mentioned, the violations, additional lot, insufficient. We're required to have 2,000 square feet per unit. We don't have any additional lot area. Open space, we're required to have 650 square feet per unit, which we do not have. The existing footprint is staying the same. Side yard violation, required to have 10 feet. This is a pre-existing violation as well. We're on the lot line on the left, and we have 10 feet to the right, so the left is a violation. Parking, each of the new 2 units is required to have a space. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, there's no existing parking right now, and the footprint's not changing, so we're not offering any additional parking. And finally, change in non-conforming use. The existing 3 units and commercial spaces is non-conforming, and the proposed 5 units will remain non-conforming. So it's a change in non-conforming use. Briefly, just running through the floor plan. The average unit size will be about 950 square feet. There'll be 2 units on the first floor, 2 units on the second floor, and 1 unit on the top floor. With that, I will pause and take any questions from the board.
Can you describe the current use and occupancy of the current structure?
Yeah, so the first floor, as you can see in the picture, resembles what was a storefront. So the commercial spaces were on the first floor. Currently 3 units are occupied, and the other 2 spaces are vacant. So the interior renovations, we would propose the 5 units.
How are the drawings, Calvin?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? And is there anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisa Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record and support. One thing that we do want to know is we'd like for them to work on issues around parking because of increased density with this current proposal. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor, Frank Baker's office would like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Are there possible remedies for the parking?
We could look to outsource it a little bit. As you can see from the picture, I mean, we're currently taking up the majority of the property. On the right, we have 10 feet, but that's used for ingress and egress. So on site, there really isn't much of an opportunity. We are fairly close to Dudley Station, so we could look at maybe some alternatives, providing MBTA cards or something of that nature.
Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break.
You're welcome.
me to, I will.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I start the 10:30 hearings, I'm going to call for withdrawals or deferrals again for 10:30. Hearing none. We'll go to the first case, calling BOA 836-080, 269 Gold Street. This is to raise the existing building, erect a new three-story, three-family dwelling with 4 parking spaces at garage. The violation is Article 27S-5. This is in the iPod applicability. Due to erecting a building or structure having a gross floor area greater than 1,000 square feet. Article 68, Section 33, maneuvering, off-street parking, maneuver and loading. Article 68, Section 8, front yard is insufficient. Article 68, side yard is insufficient. And Article 68, Section 8, rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman of the board. My name is James Christopher with Project Architects RC LLC. Business address at 415 Neponset Ave, representing the owners, Charlie Dempsey and Patrick Stone. So the proposal is to raise the existing single-family building, construct a new three-dwelling building. We met with the direct abutters. The project was fairly well received. We had 2 meetings. We went to the city side. Civic group, the project was supported. I also have the record, there was one concern from a rear abutter, Mrs. Hennessy, regarding screening and buffering at the rear of the property, which we'll address with fencing and shrubs.
What is the current, on the current site?
Single family house.
And what's the building height on the current?
It matches ours.
Oh, okay. No change. And is the footprint the same?
The footprint is the same. It's released a little bit because we've created a passageway on the right side of the building facing it.
And the variances that you're seeking are front yard, side yard, rear yard?
Correct.
Which is all the same case with...
It's all existing the way that it is.
Okay. All right. How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
They're adequate, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the project?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. We did hold 2 on-site abutters meetings about this project, and they did also present to the City-Side Neighborhood Association. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Ana Calderon from Councilor Flynn's office, we would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Paul Sullivan. On behalf of the Council at Large, Michael Flaherty. Council to go on record in support.
Is anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve with continued BPDA design review. With special attention just to keep an eye on that parking. I think there's 3 regular spots and one subcompact.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 764-151, 881 East 2nd Street. This is extending 4 existing roof decks. The violation is Article 27S, Section 5. It's in the South Boston iPod applicability. And Article 68, Section 29. This is roof structure restricted district. Name and address for the record, please.
David Marr, 881 East 2nd Street, South Boston.
Stephen Feldman, 881 East 2nd Street, Unit 14.
Chris Prudhomme from Zephyr Architects, 315 A Street.
Can you describe the project, please?
Yep. The project is the extension of 4 existing roof decks, existing head houses and stairs to remain. It's the addition of approximately 680 square feet, not adding any height, but the addition of approximately 120 to 220 square feet per those 4 roof decks.
What's the current, are the current roof decks all identical in size or they vary in size?
They're relatively the same.
And is the extension roughly the same for all 4 of them?
Yep, they're roughly equal. So if you look at the A100 drawing, you'll see a selective demo and a proposed. The proposed shows the existing resalvaged pavers, in the lighter white color, and then the darker hatch is the new square footage to be added.
And what is the access to the roof decks now?
It was the existing prior to this project, which is the existing 4 sets of stairs that go up to 4 individual exclusive rights head houses. And those stay. Yep.
New railings?
Yep, new composite vinyl railings with black iron panels.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Drawings are adequate.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We'd like to go on record in support. These are an extension of existing roof decks and should be a nice addition to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition?
Mr. Chairman, madams of the board, members of the board, sorry. Anna from Councilor Flynn's office. We would like to go in opposition to this project. They have been approved for the size that it is now, the roof deck. The direct tap butters are fine with it, but they don't want them to be bigger. They don't want it to be extended. They have concerns on noise.
Keep them the way they are?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. We're not going to need BPD design review, but just keep working with the neighbors.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 849-084, 70 Charles Street. This is to extend office use extend office use the residential space in the tower, including the provision of accessible entrance. Office use will be on all levels of the former residence, including basement and entrance levels. The violations, Article 15, Section 1, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive, and Article 9, Section 1, this extension of a non-conforming use. Name and address for the record, please.
Attorney Jonathan Jones, 10 Forbes Road in Braintree. With me this morning is the architect, John Mills, and the owner of the building, Paul Lutz. So, 70 Charles Street, I'm handing out a package which explains what it is. Zoning in this neighborhood is L265. Current use is it's the Charles Street Meeting House, which has both office and residential units. The proposal is to extend the office use into the residential area. The violations, there's only 2. Office use in the first floor is conditioned. It's an extension of non-conforming use, it's a conditional use. And then FAR. If you look at the proposal before you, there's no change to the exterior of the building at all. There's just some empty spaces inside the building. When they're converting it to office, they're going to fill those in because now they're kind of like ATM areas. And it's an increase of 325 square feet, that's it. So that's basically the proposal before you. We had a community process. All the meetings went very well. I provided the board 25 letters of support, including a letter of support from the Beacon Hill Civic Association. As I stated, there's no exterior work at all being done to this building. It's just a change of use.
How many residential units are there in the building prior to this?
Just one.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know there were any. And have you gone before, I mean, I assume you've got a lot of approvals to go through to get this done. The historic landmark.
So there's no, the good thing is there's no exterior work at all being done to the property, so landmarks.
There is a preservation restriction from Historic New England, which they review the building annually, and we've been meeting with them regularly about the changes inside, but there's no exterior change.
Okay. And these will be rental units?
It's an extension of the office uses that currently occupy the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floor. The non-conforming use aspect is in order to preserve retail along Charles Street, and the change at the ground floor and basement level are the former residence, and it's not abutting Charles. I mean, it's not fronting on Charles Street, so there's no visual change of any kind, and there's no affectation of the intent of the zoning that requires that non-conforming use.
Okay, how are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions on the board? there anyone here to speak on behalf of the proposal?
Members of the board, Giselle Guerrero with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. We did have a very positive committee process where there were no questions or concerns from neither the abutters or the Civic Association. We have a letter of support from Beacon Hill Civic that was presented to you, and at the abutters meeting, everyone was in full support of the work going on inside the building and creating and also preserving the building itself. Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition? It would be quite a location to have a residence. Any questions from the board? I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Thank you very much.
Calling BOA 832-915, 94 Charles Street. This is a change of use from 9 residential apartments back to a 9-unit hotel executive suite. The violation is Article 8, Section 7. Use is conditional hotel. Name and address for the record, please.
Brent Burke, 1904 Washington Street.
And Scott Kirkwood, Brent is my employer, so also 1904.
Okay. You want to describe what is being proposed?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. So I am here today with Brent Burke, who is my employer and one of the owners and co-operators of 94 Charles Street. And we are here to propose a change of use from what is now 9 residential apartments back to 9 hotels or executive suite units. The building is already fully sprinkled with a fully addressable alarm system, and absolutely no work is proposed on the exterior or interior of the building. Such change would allow us to continue operating the property as we have since finishing renovation back in 2013. Prior to us purchasing the property from the previous owners in 2012, the property was run as a hotel since back in 1998, and it was dubbed the Charles Street Inn and still carries that title today. Given the property's location on Charles Street, which is a highly commercialized portion of Beacon Hill, and its past use as a hotel, we believe that the proposed use would be in keeping with that of the surrounding area. With only 1 parking space and ample garage space close by, we feel that there will continue to be no impact to the neighborhood traffic patterns. Additionally, we feel that the property will benefit the city through payment of an increased commercial tax as well as room and occupancy tax, and the surrounding businesses will also continue to benefit from our guests being patrons, and these guests include everyone from those who are receiving treatment or working at MGH to those who are coming to the area to simply visit family. At this point, I'd like to open up to members of the board for questions.
So I'm looking at the letter that's accompanying it. I'm curious. It says that this is motivated because of pending city regulations around
Yes.
Airbnb. Can you explain that?
Yes, so as a result of the legislation which dictates that anything that is let for less than 28 days is considered a short-term rental, we felt that we needed to fall within the definition of a hotel in order to continue to run the business as is. So the average length of stay is probably around 7 nights, but some stays are as long as 90 nights, some are as little as 2. So we had to fit the mold given the change in the legislation.
So this had been operating as an Airbnb during this?
With furnished rentals, Airbnb is one avenue through which we generate bookings, but I mean there are a host of other ones. Some are direct, some are through a variety of other sources, but that is one, yes, sir.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate. There's no changes at all.
Right. Any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak in favor of the proposal?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Giselle Guerrero at the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. The Beacon Hill Civic Association has submitted a letter of non-opposition. While they do echo some of the concerns that were relayed to us at the abutters meeting, it's just concerns of the use of Airbnb causing traffic and not knowing the neighbors and trash and stuff like that. But at this time, we would like to go on record in support pending the change of the regulations and agreeing that they will be good neighbors to the residents. Thank you.
So just from a city's perspective, is this move consistent with what the city's hoping for in terms of the regulations?
Yes, seeing that they have made the changes necessary in order to continue the use as a hotel and not a residential Airbnb, yes.
Is anyone here to speak in opposition? What's the pleasure of the board?
Pleasure of the board is to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Thank you.
Calling BOA 843-555, 83 Chestnut Street. This is construct a new roof deck and head house with a retractable hatch. The deck and head house are not visible from the public way. Violation to Article 15, Section 1, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive, and Article 20, Section 1, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Johanna Schneider. I'm the law firm of Hemingway & Barnes at 75 State Street. I'm here with Damon May and Henry Ladd from the project team. We are seeking zoning relief to allow the construction of a roof deck and a head house at 83 Chestnut. At the outset, as Mr. Secretary noted, neither the deck nor the head house is visible from the public way. There has been significant community process on this application, including 4 meetings with Beacon Hill Architectural, 2 meetings with Beacon Hill Civic, and several discussions with neighbors and abutters. We do have a certificate of appropriateness from Beacon Hill Architectural. We have a letter of non-opposition, which I'm not sure if the board has received yet, but we're happy to hand that up to Beacon Hill Civic, and 4 letters of support from neighbors, including the immediate abutter. As a result of our work with the neighborhood, the project has changed slightly so that while the plans originally submitted required relief for both FAR and rear yard setback, we are now compliant with all yard requirements, and we are now only seeking a variance with respect to FAR. The current FAR for the property is 2.8. The proposed addition will bring the FAR up to 2.82. So it is a very modest amount of zoning relief that we are seeking. There is no other usable outdoor space for the family who lives in this building, so they're hoping the board will grant the requested variance so that they can have a roof deck to enjoy some private outdoor space. We're happy to walk through the revised plans or to answer any questions that the board may have.
So, can you talk a little, there's a head house as part of this design.
There is.
But it says on A1 talks about access hatch.
Yes, it's a Damon May, project architect. It's a low-profile head house. We understood that the terminology, the preferred terminology of the board was that it was a head house with a retractable hatch. So it's 13 feet long, 3.5 feet wide, and 4 feet tall.
4 feet tall.
4 feet tall.
Okay, good. Okay. How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board?
These are the new drawings, correct?
Correct.
Is anybody here to speak on behalf of the project?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Jess Unger at the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support. They have a letter of support from the Beacon Hill Civic Association, also support from all the direct abutters. So at this time, we have no questions or concerns either. Thank you.
Anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, you're all set. I'm glad,
Thank you.
glad to see the hatches diminished.
Calling BOA 845-888, 36 Dwight Street. This is to construct rear decks and roof deck. The violation to Article 64, Section 9. This is extension into the rear yard is conditional, and Article 64, Section 34, roof structure restrictions. Name and address for the record, please.
John Moran, Alpine Advisory Services, Alpine Way. Joining me is Louis Lagon, the owner. We are seeking relief, a conditional use permit for 2 rear decks, which will project 6 feet out into the rear yard, be supported by brackets. It will be set back 1 foot from the property line to be consistent with the adjoining property at 34. Also, I'd like to mention for the record that we have agreed to some unrelated cosmetic changes. We are altering the drain pipe between 36 and 34's diameter from 4 inches to 3 inches, and of the same kind as the adjoining drain pipe on the other side of 34 Dwight Street. The rooftop relief requires a variance. It is in a restricted area. We are seeking a variance to install 1 condenser, which will not be visible from a public way. We have the support of the 8th Street Neighborhood Association, plus if I may file a petition signed by 72 abutters in support of the relief sought.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Faisal Sharif with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I did hold an abutters meeting in which the Civic Association president was in attendance along with the direct abutters. There was a concern about how close this deck was to the adjacent deck of the direct abutter, but they did work with that abutter to pull the deck in a bit, and based on that feedback, we would like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one question. It's no more than 6 feet, correct, and they are bracketed supported?
Correct.
All right.
And it's also within a landmarks district, so it's subject to the South End landmarks review.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, Ana Calderon from Councilor Flink's office, we would like to go on record in support as well. Thank you.
What is the access to the roof deck?
By hatch.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion, please?
Oh, we got some.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Louis Peltier, and I'm a resident of Boston at 37 Dwight Street. And I'd just like to say that I'm here to offer my support for the project.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Call DOA
835-791-199 Hobbs Street.
This is to demolish
An existing structure and erect a 4-story dwelling with 6 residential units and 5 parking spaces. Building will also include 2 roof decks. Violations, Article 10, Section 1. Proposed parking is within 5 feet of the side yard. Article 25, Section 5, it's a flood hazard district. Article 53, Section 8, a multifamily is forbidden. Article 53, Section 56, number of parking spaces insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, additional lot area is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 53, Section 9, the building height is excessive in stories. Article 53, Section 9, the building height is excessive in feet. Article 53, Section 9, usable open space is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the front yard is insufficient. Article 53, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. And Article 53, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano with an address of 15 Broad Street. Here representing Gene Bernstein, the owner of 199 Howard. We are seeking zoning release to raise the existing building, which has been uninhabitable and unoccupied for a number of years. To raise the existing structure and erect a 4-story building with 6 residential condominium units and 5 parking spaces. This particular zoning district is a 3F 2000. The lot size is 2,500 square feet. Height of the proposed building is 39 feet 6 inches. We worked with the Paris Flats Community Group and the abutters over the better part of 6 months to make a number of modifications on this project. 2 of the units were reduced from 2 beds to 1-bedroom units. We increased our rear green space in the yard for our neighbors, and we agreed to have no roof decks. We took off our roof decks and head house on the property, all of which the abutters had asked for. The units now, as they stand, are roughly 721 square feet, and a couple of them, one of them is 997. The violations, as was mentioned, it's a 3-family district, so 6 units is proposed. Additional lot area, so 1,000 per, we're at 500. FAR 1.0, we're at 2.65. Height is 35 feet, we're at 39. Open space, we're at 50 per, 300 is required. Front yard, 5, we're at 0. 2.5-foot side setback, we're at 0, matching what's already there. And rear yard 30, we're at 12.5. But as I mentioned, we had a really good community process with the abutters as well as the community group to come up with the proposal that you see, and we're cleaning up the blighted building as well.
Could you explain how the parking works? I see you've got a garage door set back, inset.
Yep.
At least in the rendering, the curb cut doesn't line up with the drawing.
Yeah, I think it changed over a period of time.
Seems like a bad
And I
idea to
believe
have a curb cut.
yeah, no, it's lined over where the garage door.
Okay, and then, and I'm looking at the drawings, they're sort of under the building, but outside.
In the back as you come out.
So the back of the building's cantilevered over the parking area.
Correct.
Okay. This is a tight little lot.
Yeah, I mean, this multifamily up and down that corridor with no parking, so the building has been blighted for so long. We wanted to do a condo project that would work, so.
Other drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate. I do have one question. It seems to me that these drawings still have the roof decks on them.
Okay, those might be old ones, but the plans that in the packet would have.
So I'm going to hold for a new set,
Yep.
okay?
You got it.
Any questions from the board? Is anyone here to speak in favor of the project?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Jesus Garcia with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We held an abutters meeting for this project, and during the community process, they received support from the direct abutters. The Civic Association voted in support for the proposal, and as the attorney mentioned, the commitment was not to provide head house or roof decks and other recommendations from the board. They submit a letter in support. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from City Council Lydia Edwards' office. We'd like to go on record in support as well.
Mr. D'Amico, have you taken a look at the A1?
No, I haven't seen these plans.
I mean, it seems awfully tight. Maneuverability there.
I think it's just this picture that makes it really...
No, I'm looking at A1. And on A1, by the way, the curb cut still is not in front of the front door.
Yeah, we'll amend it. All of the parking goes in through the garage door and overhang back. It's important to get a certain number of spots in. We were not cited for maneuverability.
Yeah, it's a tight lot, there's no doubt about it. What's the size of the units? Here, I'm looking at that, never mind, I'm seeing that. So it's 721 to 997?
Yeah.
Is this based on usual size cars, or are we talking good sized vehicles?
They were standard size. Yeah, these are standard size.
Okay.
Well, the curb cut's going to have to obviously be moved. That's a no-brainer.
Unless they want to take a diagonal left across the sidewalk.
But it is longer and wide enough to accommodate the 5 vehicles.
Okay.
Other than the curb cut, obviously.
Okay.
All of it is gonna be under, all the,
Ground level,
all of the.
not underground, but at grade. The first floor. We enter through the garage door, would all be interior with an overhang back.
Did I ask if there was anybody in opposition? I think I did, but okay. Can I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to approve with, we're going to need continued BPDA design review. Just, you know.
And it sounds like there's still some little tweaking in the plans that have to happen.
Oh, and I'm going to hold that for a final set of plans. Thank you.
Make sure the curb cut's in front of the garage door.
And then the roof decks are removed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set. Thank you very much.
It's almost 12. I'm going to call on the 11:30 rediscussions. Are there any deferrals or withdrawals? Mr. Moranti, address?
24 Arcadia Park.
I'm sorry, say that again?
24 Arcadia Park.
For the record, calling BOA 79303, 24 Arcadia Park. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is George Moranci. I'm an attorney with the business address of 350 West Broadway in South Boston. This matter has one previous deferral. The proposal here is to consolidate 2 lots, erect an addition to an existing 3-family dwelling, and change occupancy to 6 units. One of the parcels involved is a parcel which went through a D&D disposition process. We're currently working with D&D to go forward with the plan but in a way that would create an affordable unit at the site. This is going to require us to do some additional community process. It's also, I believe, going to require a vote of the Public Facilities Commission. So what I would ask is if the board were to see fit to grant the deferral here, I would certainly ask for a date probably in late January.
Make a motion for deferral with a date of late January.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
We have 1/29/2019. I can't believe I'm saying that. Address, sir?
500 East Broadway.
For the,
Second page, 5.
500, I'm sorry. Did you say 500, Ken?
500 to 502 East Broadway.
Okay. For the record, BOA 787-634-500, 502A East Broadway. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is James Christopher of RCA LLC. We're the project architects with the business address of 415 Neponset Ave. At this time, we request a brief deferral. We've met with the neighbors informally and been in communication via email. We've significantly redesigned the building. We'd like to have another formal abutters meeting and meet with the civic group if that is deemed necessary.
When are they meeting?
I think the meeting is in November, so if we could get mid-December meeting, that'd be perfect.
December 11th? Make a motion for deferral.
Second.
Those in favor? All opposed? Okay.
You have a date of 12/11.
Thank you very much.
Address, please.
It's 1225, 1231 Center Street in Rosendale.
For the record, calling BOA 695-061, 1225, 1229 Center Street. Name and address for the record, please. And there's a companion case, BOA 695-062, 1231A to 1231B, Center Street.
John Pulgini, 10 Forbes Road, Braintree. Good afternoon, everyone. This had been continued once before on a deferral. What we're doing in this process is we're working with an institutional abutter to effectuate a sale of this parcel to them. So we're just dealing with, it's not like selling to one of you, it's dealing with board of directors and things like that. So that's where we're at right now. So we're just basically going through that process, and then it doesn't come before the board, this whole project goes away.
Okay.
Motion for a deferral.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
We also have December 11th.
That's fine, thank you.
I was just here from City Councilor Matt O'Malley's office to speak in support of that deferral. Thank you.
Are there any other deferrals or withdrawals for 11:30?
Yes, December 11th.
Okay, we get back to the 10:30s. Calling BOA 851-770, 110 Moore Street. This is to remove the existing small addition and construct a new addition and deck. In violation of Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR, Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard, Article 53, Section 9, insufficient rear yard setback. Name and address for the record, please.
John Leone, 110 Moore Street. I'm the owner.
Want to describe your proposal?
Yeah, we're just looking to remove an existing room, put one on, a deck at the end of it, and a deck on top. The numbers we got from the zoning board, the architect, seemed to be in what we submitted, so I wasn't sure if there was something wrong with the plot plan, because I wasn't really too up to par. So I ended up getting another one. If you want it, I can show you.
Well, what are the variances that you were cited for? Violations you were cited for?
There was 18 from the rear.
So rear yard setback?
Yeah. And I think it was 2 feet, 4 feet left and right.
Side, so it's
Side,
rear yard
yeah.
and side yard. But what you're saying is that the addition that you're removing, you're taking the same contours and going up? Or are you extending it?
Just extended, it's gonna be extended.
To the rear or to the sides as well?
To the rear.
Okay, so the side yard setbacks will be the same as they were before?
Right.
Okay, and the rear, how far are you extending it from what was there before?
It's probably gonna go like another 9 feet.
9 feet, okay. Leaving how much toward the end of the lot?
Including the deck, it'll be 30 feet.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate. Is this work done already?
No. Would you like to have this here?
What's that?
You want the plot like the same, the one?
I could use that, that'd be great.
Yeah, no, this has a lot more detail than that.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant?
You want to move your hat, please? Your hat? I love the Patriots, too.
Well,
Chairman and members of the board, Jesus Garcia with the Mayor's Office on Neighborhood Services. We have an abutters meeting on August for this project, and the proposal received strong support from all the abutters who attend the meeting.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Ricardo Patron from Councilor Lydia Edwards' office. We'd like to go on record in support as well.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion?
We haven't made a motion yet, but I will make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review.
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You're all set.
Calling BOA 840-525-308 Paris Street. This is a full renovation. Violation is Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Richard Lins, 245 Sumner Street, East Boston. I'm actually covering for my colleague, Attorney Levine Scatino, whose presentation before the board. This is a proposal to extend living space in existing two-family dwelling to the basement, which would be the first level unit. In addition, we'd be proposing to construct a roof deck. There is, as you can see from the photos, that is supplied with an existing head house. That head house will be modified to allow for access to the proposed roof deck. One thing I do want to bring to the board's attention, I do know the plan.
There is that, I see the head house.
Yep.
What is the leak, just the roof? There's
Just
no,
the roof.
No roof deck now.
No roof deck presently. So based upon Article 53, I would point out to the board that the dimensions that were indicated for the roof deck do not set the roof deck back sufficiently from the front of the property. It requires a 1 foot setback for each 2 feet of railing height. And in this case, that would require a 7 foot setback. Rather than refiling or renoticing to comply with the requirements of Article 53, so that isn't a violation. I think that can be picked up in the BPD design review process.
Okay, so are the drawings that are in front of us correct, or they need to be?
They're correct. They show the roof deck within 7 feet of the front of the building. So we would comply with the 7 foot setback requirement.
Councilors, the mechanical room for this unit, for the first floor unit only, or is it for the entire building?
I believe it would be for the entire building. Obviously, we would provide appropriate access to that second level.
Thank you.
How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the project?
Chairman, members of the board, Jesus Garcia with the Mayor's Office on Neighborhood Services. We have an abutters meeting for this project, and also it was presented in front of the Maverick Civic Association, and received the support for the proposal. Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Ricardo Patron from Councilor Lydia Edwards' office. We'd like to go on record in support as well.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition?
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Brown, and I am the owner of 310 Paris Street, which is right next door. There is a 3-foot gap, alley, period. The roof levels are the same level. I am opposing the roof deck. I'm not opposing the renovations of the house. I am opposing the roof deck. It becomes a quality issue.
If we look at this picture, you're to the right?
I am. I'm the one with the flower boxes. Yes. So it becomes a quality of life issue for that entire neighborhood. There is a very, very small postage stamp alley. That's it. It's very congested, and if they would have tenants on that roof deck, they do not follow all the tenant rules. For example, if they have a grill, which is illegal on the roof, smoking, because the houses are so close, I literally can touch the house behind me on Bennington Street. So I am opposing the rooftop deck. The other renovations to the house, I think, are adequate. I think that they, improve the neighborhood, but the roof deck, I oppose.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm looking at this picture again, and I see there's a head house on the unit to the left as well. Correct. Is there a roof deck there? Or
There's not, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the roof deck is not before the board. There's no relief necessary for the roof deck. FAR only for the basement. Although the roof deck is in the description of the project, there is no relief necessary. The roof deck would be by right.
I have one question. What's the ceiling height, floor to ceiling in the basement? 711. Thank you.
Not to mention that is all Paris flats, and those cellars are below sea level, and they have dug down and has caused some significant water damage in the neighborhood. So I just, we'll deal with the water damage, and we'll deal with the flooding that happens as a result of their digging. However, it becomes an issue for the whole neighborhood. And I'm speaking on behalf of my other neighbors as well.
Thank you very much. Okay. Any questions from the board? Do I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to approve. Jeff, we're going to have continued BPDA design review.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Into the 11:30s for rediscussions. Calling BOA 848-647, 82 Glencliff Road. This is off-street parking for two vehicles. The violation Article 67, Section 32, off-street parking, 67-32 for location. Name and address for the record, please.
Michael Smith, 82 Glencliff Road.
Peter Cepeda, 82 Glencliff Road, Rosendale.
Can you describe your proposal, please?
Yes. The project proposes to add a driveway for the purposes of improving the overall safety and access to the home. Our current property sits roughly 12 feet above street level, and the current access to the home is via a series of steps and walkways, both of which have proven to be hazardous to both my husband and I. We've lived here for the last 4 years. We're seeking to improve the property by improving access and safety to the primary entryways into the home, which are on the north end of the property, being the basement entry and the second floor kitchen entry. We did have a positive community process. We invited 60 of our neighbors over for an abutment meeting. We had about 15 show up, and all were in support of the process. The violation of this particular case is that we have a driveway that is directly in front of the home, does not go directly into a garage. The property was never built with a garage or a driveway. We have looked into other options. The issue here is that, one, we have challenges over the topography of our land because we are up on a bit of a hill. And the other issue is that we just don't have the adequate space to put in a driveway on either ends of the property. We did look at installing a tandem driveway on the south end of the property in the packet. That's figures 1 and 2. And the issue there is, again, one, it does not achieve our primary objective, which is to improve safety and accessibility to the property because there are no entry points to the house from that end. The other issue is just pure clearance. We only have 13 feet between us and the neighbor, or to the property line, I should say. And the issue is that for a curb cut, we need to have 5 feet for the curb cut according to the application. And so 5 feet plus a 10-foot wide driveway, which is the minimum for a driveway, that puts us into our living room. So that doesn't really work from that.
I thought you said you had 13 feet.
13 feet, but we need 5 feet between us and the neighbor. The reason for that is because there is a retention wall, a retaining wall. So there's a vertical structure there that we need to maintain 5 feet from. Yeah, so the other issue, even if that wasn't there, because we were on a hill, there'd be quite a bit of excavation that's necessary, and we would have to put in our own retaining walls. And once you add in the additional 18 feet on either side, 18 inches on either side, it still reduces the overall free width to about 8.5 feet or so.
Okay. Well, concern here is that this board and the city in general is, they give you a front yard parking.
Sure.
I understand the challenges that you have, but that's not sure that's the solution. But we'll go through the process anyway. Mr. Gallatin, how are the drawings?
The plans are adequate, and in essence, they do create 2 front yard parking spots.
Where we remove one space, we remove 2 cars from the curbside parking with only removing 1 space. We remove 2 cars, 1 space.
Look, we understand your desire to get the cars off of the street and with a minimum amount of space lost. The problem is that the solution of front yard parking is not something we've ever really looked upon kindly.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Bob D'Amico, BTD. Not only is it front yard parking, but the sizes are too small. They're only 18 foot in length, and the very minimum is 20 feet. So there's a strong chance that they could protrude into the sidewalk. So they're undersized.
Would you, I mean, it appears to me that granted all of the challenges of the topography and the need for retaining wall, but it does appear to me that a driveway on the left side of the house is a possibility. Would you agree?
What I would have to see the plans just to make sure that the sizes would satisfy the requirements, because right now the ones that they show are not big enough.
Right. No, I understand that.
You mean change the location of the parking?
Do you have an extra packet? My question is whether a curb cut on the left side, there's 13 feet between the side of the house and the...
There really isn't. We have a 18-inch chimney that sticks out from the side of the house, so that removes at least a foot and a half there. And again, from the interior of the curb cut to the existing retaining wall, there needs to be 5 feet according to the...
But that could be angled.
An angled driveway.
And just to reiterate, our primary focus is to improve access to the house where we access the house.
I understand. You're just running, the solution that you've found is one that historically we have not been.
No, actually, I understand. We did do a lot of due diligence and trying to figure out whether it would work in any other ways, and unfortunately, this appeared to be the best possible option.
And there's at least one instance of me watching zoning board approval or meetings like this where even Mr. Pisani okayed a front yard parking situation. So for unusual topography and unusual circumstances, that has been the case.
If it's the case I'm thinking of, it was really quite different.
Mr. Chairman, to address your question, we could look at pushing the parking to the other side of the property and, have them parked one in front of the other, so you don't have the vehicles so close to the street. I don't know how much space they have on the left side of the house between the edge of the house and the abutting property.
You're saying 13 feet minus 18 inches from the chimney, so 11
That's they can make it.
Well, and then we would
Because you only need 8.5 feet width.
Actually, the minimum is 10 feet, isn't it, according to the zoning code?
That's the curb cut. I'm talking about the size of the vehicle.
Okay. And then we also have to do retaining walls because of, in order to get a 20% grade on the driveway, we'd have to do significant retaining walls on either side for the rise up or run.
I'm not going to design this thing now. I think I will entertain it. Well, first I have to find out, I have to get public testimony.
Before that, I know I was at the subcommittee, and Mr. Pisani had brought that up in regards to trying to move that over, but you guys seem to think it wouldn't work.
Well, again, it doesn't help what we're trying to accomplish. We're trying to improve access to the house and improve the overall safety, but there's no access to the home from that side of the house.
Right, or to the back of the house. I think the chair just said that, he understands that. We understand that we don't usually grant front yard parking. And that's why Mr. Pisani had brought that up to you to try to ease that solution, was to try to look at the left-hand side of the house. Have you guys looked at it or no?
We have.
Well, again,
That's what we were
we're not going to
explaining.
redesign it here right now. We have a proposal in front of us and we need to act on it. So let me take public testimony. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the applicant?
Good afternoon. My name's Joe Coppinger, Rosendale Liaison out of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We held an abutters meeting back in July. It was met with a plethora of support from neighbors. We would like to go on record in support of this project.
Excuse me, question.
Yes.
Was there acknowledgement of this parking, creating this parking as front yard with the community?
Repeat the question.
Was there acknowledgement that creating the parking spaces as they are presented would create a front yard parking situation?
Yes, that was brought to their attention.
Oh, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Mr. Rico.
I promise to be my last statement.
Bailiwick.
I would like to recommend that it be denied without prejudice so they could come back and show us a parking design on the other side of the property.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the project?
Before we go to a motion, Mr. Chair, I'd like to be recognized. Do you think maybe we could have a deferral and you guys could come back, or do you want us to vote on it?
So if we come back, do we need to get some redesign done before we come back, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
To try to show that it'll work on the left-hand side.
And how long of a deferral can we get? I guess that's the question, I just don't know.
You could be here in less than a month, you could be here in 2 months. But it seems there's a lot of meat on this bone. It seems like there's a lot to go here. A couple of problems we have with it is that the sizes are too small. So you're going to hang over the parking lot. Hang over the sidewalk, which is a concern, right? We want to recognize that you guys have a concern and we want to be helpful to that. But we typically do not approve front yard parking, okay? Not only is this front yard parking, it's not big enough. So we have to find another solution or we can vote on it.
May I ask a question? Why? What's the reasoning for no front yard parking?
So, I guess we're not going to get into the
And this is for my information. I just don't know.
It's just a board policy. It's something that we don't.
It's beyond that. The city, it's a design policy for many years. It's part of kind of protecting the urban landscape and modal design and keeping the front yards and not parking. It's one of the things that distinguishes urban environments from suburban environments, to be honest with you.
Which we have a 40-foot.
Okay, we're not here. I asked a question. We're not going to argue. Okay, so if you guys want to go forward, we'll vote. Yeah. If you want to defer it and try to work on it, we'll do that. Which would you like to do?
Well, I'd like to defer, but it's going to take us some time to.
You let us know how long you need, and we'll accommodate your time.
Can we have until next year, after the first of the year?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We want to make this process easy for you, but we just we can't. We know it isn't easy, but we can't.
Not so much, but it is what it is.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. So
I can make a motion for deferral.
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? I think there is a solution that can be found. This one's not.
May I say one more thing? Is it possible, I know you guys are really looking for something on that end of the property. We would really prefer something on the other end. Can we provide you a couple of options?
How much room do you have from the right side of the house to the lot line?
Well, the issue there is that we have a property line that is at a diagonal to the home, so it starts to impinge on our deck. So we would require some redesign of the deck in order to make that work. But if that's something we'd be willing to look into, is that something you'd entertain?
Yeah, of course. As long as it meets the requirements, sure.
How far to the back do we have to go?
What you don't, you want the back end of the car not to extend past.
Oh, no, I'm talking the end of the driveway.
We'll figure that out.
Awesome.
Yeah, your situation is complicated by both its topography and the fact your house is set back so far, which is, well. Anyway, so.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, just one last thing. I just want the proponent to make the driveway a minimum of 10 feet wide, the driveway.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
You got a date of, thank you.
Yeah.
We have a date of February 5th. Be 11:30.
Yeah?
That
Brilliant.
works?
Yeah, totally. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
calling the next case, calling BOA 859-200, 91 Radcliffe Road. It's erected two-family residential dwelling on an existing vacant lot, violates Article 69, Section 29. Insufficient parking, 1.5 unit times 2, 3 parking spaces required. Article 69, Section 30, driveway access width 10 feet. Article 69, Section 9, insufficient front yard. Article 69, insufficient rear yard. Article 69, insufficient lot size. Article 69, insufficient lot width. Article 69, Section 9, insufficient lot width, frontage. Article 69, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 69, Section 9, insufficient side yard. And Article 69, Section 9, insufficient usable open space. Name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Attorney Derek Small. I have a business address of 15 Hart Street, Boston, Mass. 02109. With me today is the architect, Matt Miller. We're here today seeking relief to erect a one-family dwelling on a vacant lot with 2 parking spaces. The zoning sub-district is 2F5000. The violations are as follows. Lot area requirement is 5,000 square feet. We have 3,167. Off-street parking requirement is 3.
Was this advertised as a two-family?
It was advertised as a 1. What happened last time was the original proposal was for a 2-family.
Yeah.
And due to community input and community process, it was reduced to a 1.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the current agenda still says 2, but that's a mistake.
That is a mistake.
Okay.
It's 1 family. And we were asked to go back to the community group by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services and the city councilor, and we did that, and there was support for it.
Okay, thank you.
So going back to the violations, front yard setback is 20 feet, we have 10 feet. Rear yard is 40, we have 24 and a half. Lot width, lot frontage is 15 requirement, we have 38.45. The FAR is 0.5. We're proposing 0.83. The side yard setback is 10 feet, and we have 6.5 feet. As I stated earlier, we had a number of community meetings sponsored by the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services and the City Council. Probably about 4 or 5 meetings with regard to this project, and there is support. I'll stop there and take any questions that the board may
Okay,
have.
very good.
I do have a question. Are these the correct plans?
Yes.
The plans here say Unit 1 and Unit 2. They say first floor, second floor, attic plan.
Basement plan, first floor, second floor, attic plan, yes. I think,
It says Unit 2, Unit 1 and Unit 2.
I don't have that on my plans. Do you have the ones I just handed out?
The ones you just gave to me, A1.
No, Galvin, you're talking about these ones.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about the ones you just gave me.
Sounds like he has no.
These are 2-family plans. Do you have,
That's the old plan.
okay, do you have new plans? Or do you want me, I can use those smaller plans, but these plans aren't any good, okay? You know, this is my first day on this job. You're making it pretty difficult for me.
I'm sorry.
Trust me, I understand. But it is.
And my last.
I don't blame you.
You wish.
Okay.
Okay,
These are better.
Made me nervous.
all right, Mr. Galvin, how are those plans?
Well, these plans are adequate. The other plans are below adequate.
Okay.
Nice drawing, but not what we needed.
Very good. Okay, so so this is the revised proposal. Can I, is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the proposal?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Brian Flynn, Hyde Park Liaison with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Want to go on record in support of this proposal. To echo what Mr. Small was saying, there was an extensive community process with multiple abutters meetings. The community was vehemently opposed to a 2-family. However, the attorney as well as the developer were very reasonable to work with the community. And they brought it down to a single family, and we want to go on record in full support of it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Walter Applewhite, Council McCarthy's office. We'd like to echo the sentiment of the mayor's office, had an extensive community process, and the applicant was willing to go with the single family that the neighborhood wanted, so we'd like to go on record as support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve with continued BPA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? You're all set.
Calling BOA 859-183.
By the way, make sure you get the current full set. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. BOA 859-183, 32 Wentworth Street. This is erect a new three-family dwelling on existing vacant lot, proposed free off-street parking. Violation of Article 65, 42, side yard with off-street parking driveway cannot be less than 10 feet wide. Article 65, Section 9, a lot size to erect a three-family dwelling is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, lot width requirement is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the lot frontage is insufficient. Article 65, the floor-to-area ratio is excessive. Article 65, the height requirement is excessive in number of stories. Article 65, Section 9, usable open space is excessive. And Article 65, Section 9, the side yard setback is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Once again, Attorney Derek Small. Business address of 15 Broad Street, Boston, Mass. 02109. With me today is Matt Miller, the architect for the project. Mr. Chairman, today we are here seeking relief to erect a three-family dwelling with 3 off-street parking spots on a vacant lot. The zoning sub-district is 3F6000, and the violations are as follows. Lot area requirement is 6,000. We have 3,570 square feet. Lot width, lot frontage requirement is 40 feet. We have 35.7. The FAR is 0.4. We are proposing 0.92. The height of the building is requirement is 35 feet. We're at 30 feet. Number of stories is 2.5, and we're staying at 3.
This is 3.
We're going at 3. Proposal is 3. Side yard setback requirement is 10 feet. We have 5.6 feet on the side yards. And once again, this has had an extensive community process, and I think the reason why we were deferred last time is because of the width of the driveway. I think last time the plan showed the driveway with a width of 8 feet, and Mr. Pisani asked us to come back with the driveway of at least 10 feet, and we have made that change.
And you did that by how? By moving the...
We shrank the building by 2 feet, I believe, the width.
Okay. And did that affect in any significant way the interior?
Not at all.
Same plans, just a little bit smaller.
Okay, very good. How are the drawings, Mr. Gelman?
They seem adequate.
Okay. And the right number of units?
Yes, sir.
Very, very good. Good start. All right, any questions from the board? Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the project?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Jerome Cox. I own the house directly to the left of the vacant lot on Wentworth Street. I'm concerned that there's not enough available space between...
Is this opposition?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Whitney Celestin with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We've held an abutters meeting for this property back in the summer. They've also met with the neighborhood association there. We support this project. Thank you.
Is there anyone here speaking opposition?
As I was saying, I own the house to the left of it. My name is Jerome Cox. And I'm concerned that there isn't reasonable space between the houses. It's a very small lot. At the last hearing, they had mentioned that they were going to reach out to abutters and tell us about the plans. I haven't heard from anybody since then at all. The lot is approximately 25 feet wide from my measurements, so I don't know how you can get a driveway in there and a house. It just, if they're going to put up a three-family house, it would be squeezed between houses. It would hurt the cosmetics of it's a nice street. It would just look really silly. There's no parking on the street as it is now, and how are we going to put 10 to 12 more cars on the street? It's a lot of issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You want to respond?
The lot size is 35.7 feet wide, and we have 3 parking spaces in the back.
Right. You weren't cited for parking?
No.
Okay. Wood gentleman said that you promised to reach out to the butters.
We did flyers for the abutters meeting and for the meetings for the Community Improvement Association, which is the neighborhood association that we met with twice, and we had a abutters meeting as well. Flyering was done, so I know that.
Okay, I would suggest that.
We can reach out, we can continue to work on the abutter issues and concerns. That's not an issue at all.
Can I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion for approval with attention to the driveway, just to make sure that it stays at 10 feet. And two, to make sure that we work with the neighbors so that they have an input.
And BPDA design review?
And also BPDA design review.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, have a good day.
Calling BOA 815-385-578 Gallivan Boulevard. This is a change of occupancy from a two-family to a three-family, a new dwelling unit extended into the basement and garage, and proposed 5 off-street parking. Violations, Article 65, Section 8, a three-family dwelling is a forbidden use. Article 65, Section 9, the floor area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9.2, dimensional regulations, the location of the main entrance. Name and address for the record, please.
John Doherty, 578 Gallivan Boulevard. Proposing to turn a two-family into a three-family. The footprint is staying exactly the same. We're going down, but with the slope of the ground from the front to the back, 85% of this unit will be above ground. So there's no change to the footprint.
So you're going down?
Going into the basement.
Okay. It's an existing basement?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the violations?
Change of occupancy.
Change of occupancy from a 2 to a 3.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Galvin, how are the drawings?
The plans are good, they're adequate.
Okay, is there anybody here to speak on behalf of the proponent?
Well, there's 2 other violations. There's floor area ratio, a three-family dwelling is forbidden, and the location of the main entrance.
Location of the main entrance, it's not changing, right?
There's no unit
Ticket
there
sign
now,
for-
Mr. Chairman. So there is going to be a problem because the location of the doors are on the back.
The main entrance will be in the rear, yeah.
Oh. Is there parking in the rear?
There is, yeah, there's 6-car parking.
So that's how you get into the house, I see. Okay. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Patrick Fandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. There was a butters meeting held on May 24th, and the applicant subsequently met with the Cedar Grove Civic Association. We would like to go on record in support of this project.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Joe McEachran, City Councilor Frank Baker's office. We'd like to go on record in support.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Can I have a motion, please?
I'm going to make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Thank you. Calling BOA 881-371-2 Evandale Terrace. Legalized occupancy by changing from a single-family to a two-family with 2 parking spaces and erect a rear deck. The violation of Article 65, Section 41, off-street parking is insufficient. Article 65, Section 41, 65-41.5, off-street parking design. Article 65, Section 8, a two-family dwelling is forbidden. Article 65, Section 9, a lot width is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the lot frontage is insufficient. Article 65, Section 9, the floor to area ratio is excessive. Article 65, Section 9, the rear yard is insufficient. And Article 65, Section 9, the side yard is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Patrick Mahoney, the business address of 160 Fennel Street, representing the owner, George McCoon, as well as the development team, which is here in the audience today.
Okay, why are you coming back? Just remind us, please.
We were here at the subcommittee before, so we have not been before the full board. The existing proposal is a single family to change occupancy to a two-family dwelling. The current use has living area in the lower level. It's currently a 5-bedroom, 5 bedrooms being used for to support the upper level and a lower living area. The proposal from the main building standpoint is staying exactly the same. The existing envelope from the street is staying the same with the exception of another entrance added to the left of the current entrance. The rear parking configuration is being changed, and that was the reason for the maneuverability violation, which is no longer a violation. The garage will expand approximately 4 feet to the left to accommodate 2 cars. One parking space per dwelling unit is what's required for the first 3 units in this zoning subdistrict. The yard violations, I believe, are incorrect because the building already exists. They would be appropriate if it was a new building being erected, but the building is staying from the exterior anyway as it currently exists. And there is a rear deck being added, but does not incur any violations. The FAR violation is cited, I believe, although correctly, I believe it's owed to the sum of the living space as part of the work that has been done in years past before Mr. Cahoon owned the property.
So there is an existing garage, but it's going to be expanded?
Correct.
By how much?
Approximately 4 feet. That's our side yard violation. There's a 4-foot side yard requirement as it relates to garages or accessory buildings.
And the issue of maneuverability that has been raised, how has that been resolved?
It's been remedied because initially tandem parking was proposed, and some of the feedback in the neighborhood process was that they'd like to see side-by-side parking, which these plans reflect. Additionally, I'd like to submit 2 letters of support of direct abutters that couldn't be here, as well as all of the signatures of support from the direct abutters, specifically number 4 Avondale to the left of this property, where the garage would be becoming a couple feet closer to his property line.
Council,
How are the drawings, Mr. Gelman?
the drawings are adequate. What's the ceiling height in the basement?
It's over 8 feet, Mr. Galvin. The first almost 12 pages of the existing building, but 7'6" is what's required.
I understand. So what is the height, Councilor?
I know at its lowest point it's 8 feet.
Any other questions from the board? Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the project?
Mr. Chair, members of the board, Patrick Fandel, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. There was a butters meeting held on July 9th, and the applicant met with the Columbia-Saginaw Civic Association, I believe 2 times. They were also very good to accommodate some of the concerns regarding parking as reflected in the change to the garage, so we would like to go on record in support of this project.
Mr. Chairman of the board, my name is Peter Wojcik. I'm here with my mom. She doesn't speak much English, but she's a direct abutter of 2 Avondale Terrace. She lives at 257 Savin Hill Avenue, and she's here to express her support of the application. Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition?
Hi, my name is Alfred Canassis. I live at 8 Avondale Terrace, and I had directed 2 letters to the board, October 15th and October 29th. Are you in receipt of those letters where I addressed my concerns?
Okay, you want to summarize it very quickly?
Okay. Yeah, first of all, I've lived in the neighborhood for 38 years, and I think the standard, the high standard is owner-occupied housing, and that's the way it is on all the houses on the terrace, and I don't think that this goes to that absentee landlord 2-family house. The house is not a distressed property, nor is the neighborhood, and therefore I do not think it's in the best interest of the neighborhood that it be converted to a 2-family. In light of that, if the board does not agree with that, I think the parking that is being proposed is not adequate. The garage that is being proposed, initially they proposed merely tandem parking, drawing a line in the driveway. I objected to that. They have come back with the 2-car garage, which is the minimum, almost the minimum size garage for a 2-car garage. It's classified more or less for a small car and a compact car, and there's serious maneuverability in getting that compact car in. In order to make this a win-win situation, Mr. Cahoon in the community meetings indicated that he's selling the property to these developers, so Mr. Cahoon would win by getting a higher selling price. The developer gets a higher income stream because it's two-family. I want to make it a win-win for the triple win for the whole neighborhood. I believe the proper parking solution would be to level the existing garage, and the proposed expansion that they're proposing for the existing garage is outside the foundation work that is there now, so they'd have to take down 2 sidewalls anyway. That you eliminate the garage, propose 2 open space size parking spaces that can accommodate normal sized family cars. After all, it is 3 families in 1 unit, 3 bedrooms in 1 unit, 2 in the other. So I would propose that take down the existing garage, which you're going to essentially have to do to build this new garage, and to create 2 off-site, full-size parking spaces that'll encourage people to use the garage instead of eventually becoming a storage area because it's so small, and pave the existing driveway also to encourage the use of those 2 off-seat lots.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to respond?
Yes, briefly. If we could look at drawing A101, it shows a site survey with the garage. The proposed garage is 20 feet 6 inches. A full-size parking space is 8 feet 6 inches, so 17 feet would be required for two full-size parking spaces, not a compact space necessarily. I think the garage is perfectly adequate for 2 cars. And additionally, I think the neighborhood is suitable for a 2-family. By demonstration, the majority of the buildings on the street are multifamilies. Our opposition does live in a single-family home. As he mentioned at the meeting, he maybe someday would like to turn it into a 2-family. He doesn't have any plans to do so today, as he tells me. But for those reasons, and for the point that the building is essentially in this current configuration, and we're reducing a bedroom. Right now, it's 5-bedroom, single-family home, 1 bedroom in the lower level, and between the 2 units, each approximately 1,550 square feet. It's a total of 5 bedrooms. So we think the use is consistent. If anything, it's going to be less likely to add vehicle traffic.
All right.
Can I rebut that?
No.
Okay.
Can I have the motion, please?
Do I have, go ahead.
Motion to approve with no design review. Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Calling the next case, calling BOA 859-717, 1246 to 1250 Massachusetts Avenue. Dorchester Brewing Company would like to add a partial second story to an existing 24,000 square foot, 1-story building located at 1250 Mass Ave. The addition will include approximately 4,500 square feet of outdoor deck, roof deck, and space about 2,500 square feet of space in an indoor structure. The addition will allow more assembly space for Dorchester Brewing. Visitors enjoy. The violation of Article 9, Section 1, extension of a non-conforming use is conditional. Article 65, Section 60-37, on-street parking is insufficient due to the increase in the gross floor area. And Article 65, Section 16, the rear yard setback requirement is insufficient. Name and address for the record, please.
Travis Lee, 60 Ocean Street.
Mike Delavan, 135 Cushing Avenue.
Rashmi Ramaswamy, Rhodey Architects, 535 Albany Street.
Okay, can you just quickly tell us what you're proposing, why you're back here, and what the violations are?
So my name is Travis Lee. I'm one of the owners of Dorchester Brewing Company. We've been operating for about 2 years now, and we are a 25,000-foot contract brewing facility, and we have a small public tap room that's also in the building. We make over 70 SKUs of beer that go as far as Spain and Panama country in South America. We've been open for 2 years. We have 17 employees that are from Dorchester, and we're here to propose to the board that we expand the 1,800-foot current tap room into a larger tap room that would occupy space on the roof. So we're proposing a roof deck that would include some indoor space, some outdoor space, and that we would bring a restaurant into the ground floor of the building so that we're no longer just a business serving beer and snacks, we're a business serving beer and legitimate food. And that patrons could come and sit where they currently sit on the ground floor, or they could take an elevator or stairwell up to the roof and enjoy food up there.
And how are you dealing with the seasonality and the weather?
So part of the second-story roof deck would be indoors, that would be heated and cooled, and then the other part would be outside that would not be used in the wintertime. We've done pretty extensive.
And why are you, remind us why you're back here?
So I'm back here because of the violations on the refusal letter, which is that a beer brewing facility is a non-conforming use in our location. And by nature of expanding the project, even though our beer production facility is not getting bigger, but the project is getting bigger, so we are expanding or extending a non-conforming use, which is beer production.
Other drawings, Mr. Galvin?
Drawings are adequate.
Okay, is anyone here to testify on behalf of the department?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, John Allison, Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go on record in support of this project. It is an expansion to an existing business that's been a great business partner in the community. Thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition?
Just a quick question.
Travis, are you going to continue to lease space to prospective brewers, or you're just going to expand what you're doing?
So we currently don't lease space to brewers. We are their brewer.
Yeah.
So we have a 20-person brewing team that brews beers for about 15 different companies, and their beer leaves our facility in their trucks.
Okay. And the other question is, now that the neighborhood is progressing in terms of development, the idea of noise reduction to a patio, because with beer comes a lot of boisterous behavior.
You know what's so interesting is that all of our abutters have been very excited about our expansion, and we've been great neighbors. They've been great neighbors. So we're going to do whatever we have to do to make sure our neighbors are happy.
So, but you are taking into consideration in the development of noise reduction in terms of the
Absolutely.
Outdoor area?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just have a quick curiosity question. How many more employees will you be able to add to Dorchester?
That's a great question. We hope we can add 10 more employees with this expansion.
Well, Marie stole my question, but I'll add another one to it. So what time is your operations? What time does it cease?
We currently open at 11:30 and we close at 11:30.
You do? Okay.
We have no intention of changing that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve. In my experience, they've been a great neighbor.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. There's been a request from a board member to have a brief break. So we will do that because the next one maybe.
Are we doing it?
Brief means 2 minutes. Yes. I'm going to call BOA 854-658, 200 to 202 Ipswich Street. This is erect a 184-room hotel and ground floor restaurant. The project will include approximately 105,000 square feet of building area. It will be 8 stories with the maximum height of 90 feet. There are approximately 82 parking spaces and 1 below grade level. The violations, Article 32, Section 9, G-Cod. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Kelly Frey. I'm an attorney at the law firm Mintz Levin, business address 1 Financial Center in Boston. We represent the abutter. This project is on for both the 11:30 call and the 12 o'clock call.
Correct. Interpretation is at 12.
Correct.
But this is for the violation of G-Cod.
Great. Well, then I'll step back until the next call.
Okay. Are they here?
I've not seen anyone from that I recognize from the
Okay. Interesting. Okay, we'll hold that to the side then. We'll go to the next case, calling BOA 803-755, 58 Byron Street. This is seeking to erect a 4-story building with 4 residential units and 4 parking spaces. The violations, Article 10, Section 1, limitation of area of accessory uses. Article 53, Section 8, the MFR is forbidden in a 2-family subdistrict. Article 53, Section 9, excessive FAR. Article 53, Section 9, the maximum allowed stories has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, the maximum allowed height has been exceeded. Article 53, Section 9, insufficient side yard setback. Article 53, Section 56, insufficient parking. And Article 53, Section 56, design and maneuverability. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jeff Drago with Drago and Toscano, an address of 15 Broad Street. The attorney for the applicant, Anthony Frenny, who's here, and Shreya Maria from Joy Street, who's the architect on the project.
Mr. Councilor, before, there is a withdrawal from Mr. Marullo on this project as well.
Again, so we're seeking zoning relief to erect a 4-story building with 4 residential condominium units and 4 parking spaces. The lot size is 3,330 square feet. The zoning sub-district is a 2F 3,000. Just to give you a little bit of way of background, so we've made a number of modifications over a period of months from the community groups as well as a butter feedback that we heard. And in response to the withdrawal of opposition, I am allowed to go on record of support for 60, one of our butters, 60 Byron Street, and working with them on modifications that are supporting the project, or one of our direct butters. Some of the modifications that we made to lead to this point, we've completely redesigned the building, going from now a traditional, from a more modern contemporary design. Traditional design with bay windows. We've taken out the complete right bump out and completely eliminated that, and by doing that, reduced our FAR from 1.4 to 1.1 and square footage going from 4,662 to 3,787. On top of that, we heard that the building was high. They didn't want to see the sort of massing on the front. We've pulled that 4th floor back on the building as well, 6 feet 6 inches. We've also reduced our bedroom count from 10 to 7, so we've cut all those 3 bedrooms, 1 bedroom off. We've reduced our bathroom count. We've also put tree line buffering in the back to increase our landscape. We did submit 8 letters of support. One of them to the right-hand side, as I had mentioned, across the street from us as well. There was a project that was approved, a 5-unit, directly across the street. It's starting construction. We tried to do something that we felt was reasonable, but also could create market rate housing. It's got a 1-for-1 parking ratio. It is a condominium project. Just to go over each floor, the first floor is an 840 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. Second and third floor, 900 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath with back rear decks. And then the fourth floor, since we've cut that back, is now down to 780 square feet. It's a 1-bedroom, 1.5 bath with a front deck on it. As I had mentioned, we will continue to work with the abutters. We There are some, the abutters to the left-hand side, that are newer condo owners that we would like to work with. Just out in the hallway, I tried to work with them again on any concerns that they have, but we tried to address the height issue. We have 2-foot side setback. We've also offered to do a sort of rock and landscape plan on the side of their house if they're willing to do that. But we've really made as many modifications as possible on this project. So at that, I can pause and answer any questions that the board may have.
On the plans I see had, is there a living space in the basement, Counselor?
No, there's not.
No basement space.
Was there ever a structure in this lot?
There was not. It was an empty town in the city parcel. Yep. And this is the picture on page 2.
Yeah, no. I just assumed that at some point there was a structure.
You know, we didn't see anything, but maybe it's, I don't think there was.
Okay. How are the drawings, Mr. Galvin?
The drawings are adequate.
Any questions from the board? The unit size is 780, 900,
So,
900?
yeah, they were in the 1,200 range. We've cut those all down. They're at 900, 900, 840, and then 780 on the top.
Got it, okay. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, Jesus Garcia with the Office of Neighborhood Services. We would like to go in record in support for this project. The applicant, we host 2 abutters meetings for this proposal. They present the updates on the second abutters meeting. They reduce the size of the building. Also, they put the front of the top of the building, and also they reduce the number of the bedrooms. Based on the changes, we would like to support this project. Just I would like to mention, there are some concerns from the abutters on the right side, the left side, I'm sorry, and we would like to make sure that they continue working with the abutters and address the concerns from these direct abutters. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Ricardo Patron from Councilor Lydia Edwards' office. The councilor would also like to go on record in support of this project for the same reasons. She would like to ask that the proponent go back to the Harborview Neighborhood Association to present the most recent renderings to the association.
Is anyone here to speak in opposition?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Emma Fraser, and I live at 56 Byron Street, directly abutting the proposed project. I want to start off by saying that the developer for this project also built our home, so we know how he does business. Shortly after purchasing our unit, we learned that the plumbing was done illegally and in blatant disregard to code. Multiple raw sewage floods in our unit cost us thousands of dollars to clean up and rendered half of our unit unusable for 4 months. When the project next door began, it became obvious that our experience with the developer was just part of how he operates. Shortly before the neighborhood association voted on the project, multiple neighbors came to us with alarming concerns. An associate of the developer had gone door to door, claiming that if this project was not approved, the city would be building, instead, a halfway house for recovering addicts. Another neighbor said the associate also claimed that public parking would be available on that lot. The developer and his council have so far proven that they have no moral regard for how their projects affect others. They have used scare tactics and empty promises in place of honest collaboration with abutters. We want a building next door. All we're asking is that the developer come to us to begin an open and honest conversation so that we can come to a fair agreement. We ask that the board deny this proposal in hopes that the developer will be compelled to work with us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Stephen O'Brien. I'm a direct abutter to this proposal. I'm also a firefighter for the city of Boston.
Sir, what was your address, though?
56 Byron Street.
56.
I'm against these variances being asked for, specifically constructing 2 feet from my property line rather than the 7 required. I know from personal and professional experience the risk of fire spread and extension from one dwelling to another. The distance is arguably imminent in the event of a fire. It's also worth noting these properties are located atop a hill in the Chelsea River where we experience heavy winds which is a serious factor when dealing with fire and other hazards, especially if the building is under construction. Additionally, allowing to build a 4-family unit rather than the 2 it's zoned for raises these risks. Many of the fires occurring in the city happen by improper disposal of smoking materials, kitchen fires, and outdoor grills. Each of these risks are greatly increased by allowing multiple units in a single dwelling. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I only ask you to enforce these codes not only for the quality of living, but in the interest of life and safety. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa DiTullio, and I am an owner at 56 Byron Street, number 2, and a direct abutter of this project. I am not supportive of the proposal. One of our primary concerns is that we have not been engaged in a constructive discussion about this project, and none of our concerns have been addressed. In the last zoning board meeting that we attended on August 28th, the applicant asked for the case to be deferred so that he would have the opportunity to work with the neighborhood and hear our concerns, but he has made no effort to meet or speak with us in the 2 months since. Thank you.
Good afternoon to the chairman and members of the board. My name is Steve Winiger, and I'm the owner and resident of 56 Byron Street, Unit 1. The key takeaways that we want the board to keep in mind when voting on this proposal are: 1, that the developer has consistently shown that he does not deal in good faith with the stakeholders of his projects. 2, that the proposed project, as it stands now, presents a clear threat to the physical safety of our home. And 3, that the developer has completely neglected to work with us since the last extension was granted. I'd like to emphasize that we want a building next door, but that the proposed variances are far from equitable to us at 56 Byron Street as direct abutters. We're open to working with the developer to create a proposal that is fair to both parties and which we would support before this board. Lastly, I'd like it to go on record that before becoming a Boston firefighter, Steve served 6 years in the Marine Corps, and I served in the Massachusetts Army National Guard. We don't complain about things that don't matter. And as fellow servants of the city of Boston and the state of Massachusetts, we strongly urge this board to deny this project as it stands in its current form. Thank you.
Respond, please.
Yeah, you better respond.
Sure. So I can emphatically say that a lot of what you just heard are lies. And I don't say that often before this board. The building in question that all 4 of these folks are speaking to, by the way, I applaud their service, a fireman in the service. That's not the point here. The point is that they own a building that they purchased, both condo units from Mr. Frenny. There was no complaints ever made to Mr. Frenny about the project. This is the first we're hearing of any issues, gross negligence with their units. I don't know if this is stemming from this case or it has to do with the illegal basement unit that's being rented. That's not part of this condo docs that he built in that building. That is now being used in the basement of that building. That could have something to do with it. On the meetings, we've had 5 meetings, 2 before the Orient Civic Association, 1 before the Harbor Review, 2 abutter meetings, 1 that took place that everyone here was at the building. We've tried to reach out to them numerous times. My client has messages back and forth. We have not heard, even to today, outside in the hallway, I tried to work with them, and we weren't able to get a response. Beyond that, we will continue to try to work with these folks. Like I said, at 60, they had similar concerns, and we were able to not only get that withdrawn any opposition, but we were actually able to get support for the project. To the fire code, this building meets all the fire code standards, and it will be sprinklered. I'm not sure about the fire issues. And then the 2-foot side setback, it is 2 feet, but on the other side of their building, where there's an existing 3-family, there's also a 2-foot setback. So it is common in that area. We did need a setback on the right-hand side for parking. We didn't want to put the driveway on the left-hand side, because we also heard people concerned about lights and traffic coming in and out as well. We wanted to get the right amount of parking. We tried to make as many modifications as we can. We will continue to work with the folks, as long as they're willing to work with us.
I have to say, this is some rather strong language that was used, and people seem credible. So I'm not sure that it helps to say that they're lies, to be honest.
I can only tell you what I know, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, and I don't know. I'm hearing all of this for the first time. But when you got a situation with a direct abutter, who have past experience dealing with the same developer and have uniform reactions of the nature that they did. I mean, you know, we're sitting here hearing all of this for the first time, and we're not going to get into what he said, she said, but these are pretty serious concerns that got raised.
So we have not heard any of these concerns until today in terms of the integrity of their building. Like I said,
and what about the allegations that people were going around the neighborhood saying
so there was a gentleman that he had as a real estate agent. Now, we don't have proof of what was said, but he did early on try to door knock, and folks did say, some of these folks did mention that that was said. I don't have any proof that that was said, but it was mentioned. The moment Anthony Frenny heard about that at a neighborhood meeting, he said, I would never say that. That is not my intention. I developed residential housing on the left-hand side of this property. That's our intention. Now, we've never wavered from that once.
Well, from our perspective, we have to deal with the zoning issues and not ultimately the other stuff. Nonetheless, we often are in a situation where we have to deal with people's character as well, but we need to focus on the zoning issues. Mr. Galvin, the drawings?
The drawings are adequate. I do have a question concerning neighborhood input and meetings. If we could have the neighborhood services guy answer this question. Did you have 2 abutters meetings? Is it since the last time we were here?
Could you come up to the?
Yeah.
Up to the?
Okay. So there's been the Harborview Association you've met with, correct?
Correct. Orient Heights and Harborview.
Orient Heights you've met with.
Yeah.
And there's been 2 abutters meetings at the property?
Yeah, one we have at the Boys and Girls Salvation Club on April, and the second one it was on site.
Okay.
Back in the summer in July 11.
On site. And beyond that, you were asked to meet individually if we could with any of the concerns of the direct abutters. We worked out with 60, and we tried to work out with 56, and we'll continue to try to work out with 56.
In 56, did you need zoning relief?
No, we did not.
You did?
Any other questions?
So can I just ask, so there was a zoning board, there was a board meeting here.
Correct.
And the matter was deferred.
Correct.
And the instruction was to reach out to the butters.
Correct.
And so was there since August, was there another abutters meeting?
Mayor's office asked us to meet with them individually, which we did, and we were able to get letters of support and work out something with 60.
And so did you meet individually with the folks at 56?
We have not. They won't meet with us.
They will not meet with you?
We've tried.
You would concur with that you've tried to, disappeared from the dais, that you tried to accommodate a meeting between...
They wanted to meet individually. They wanted to meet individually.
Yes. Was he...
We didn't have another abutters meeting. However, we encourage to the applicant to make the commitment to reach out the abutters.
All right, excuse me, are you aware of the level of concern that came from the folks at 56?
Yes.
Okay, well, I think we've heard all the testimony we probably have here. What's the pleasure of the board?
I want to make a motion to approve with continued BPDA design review with specific language to talk about meeting with the units at 56 Byron and continue to work in conjunction with them to be responsive to their concerns.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes.
All right, we're going to go to the interpretation for 12 noon here. This is BOA 865-552, 200 to 202 Ipswich Street. The petitioner seeks the determination that Inspectional Services Department erred in issuing a refusal letter in connection with this application. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Kelly Frey. I'm an attorney at the law firm Mintz Levin, Business Address 1 Financial Center, Boston, Mass. We represent the butters to the proposed project site. They filed a citizen's appeal on August 9th. They've challenged the refusal letter issued by the ISD on the basis that the project, the setbacks for the project, violate Article 66. And that, in our appeal, we say that the ISD's refusal letter should have cited that Article 66 setback provision as front yard setback as a violation. Specifically, the provision at issue is Article 66, Table E, footnote 5. That provision says that within any lot fronting Boylston Street, the setback shall be 15 feet. Here, the project doesn't meet that 15 feet setback requirement. In our statement submitted in support of our appeal at the last page of Exhibit A, it shows that the setback for the building from the lot line of Boylston Street is 13 feet 10 inches on the ground floor and only 7 foot 6 inches on floors 2 through 8. Accordingly, it violates the plain language of this setback provision in Article 66, Table E, footnote 5. What the ISD approved it based on was a argument by the developer that for some reason, in this particular instance, for this particular project, the front yard setback should be measured from the curb line of Boylston Street as opposed to the lot line between Boylston Street and the project lot. In our written submission to the board, we articulate a number of reasons why that's correct. First and foremost, and most simply, it ignores the language of the setback provision at issue. The language of the setback provision says within any lot. It doesn't say across any lot line up to the curb line. It doesn't say anything. It says that the 15 feet has to be measured within any lot fronting Boylston Street. The only way that that 15 feet can be measured within the lot is to measure it from the lot line, not the curb line. Second, what the developers relied upon is the second sentence of this Article 66, Table E, footnote 5. And I'll read that. It says, quote, oriel or bay windows may extend up to 5 feet from the street wall plane into the area of such setback from Boylston Street, provided that such windows do not occupy more than 40% of the street wall plane. What the developer's argument is that because this second sentence says that oriel bay windows can extend into the area of such setback from Boylston Street, that somehow means that the measurement of this front yard setback is from the curb line of Boylston Street rather than the lot line. That makes no sense for a number of reasons. First, nowhere in Article, first and foremost, the setback provision does not say anything about curb line, and as typically front yard setbacks are measured from the lot line and not from the curb line. So if there was if the drafters of Article 66 had intended to make a specific exception here from the general rule that a front yard setback should be measured from the lot line, they would have reflected that in the text of the provision and specified that the measurement should be from the curb line. Second, the developer's interpretation of this provision ignores the definition of the word street within Article 66. The definition of the word street within Article 66 includes the area of the street up to the curb, and it also includes the additional area of the sidewalk that runs along the street, and that is the line where the lot line lies. So if we are to accept the developer's interpretation, we would that the setback should be measured up to the street. Well, that would mean that it's measured up to the street as defined in the code. That is the same line as the lot line here. Finally, as a third basis for, as stated in our written submission to the board, is that the developer's interpretation makes no sense in terms of where this setback provision appears in the code. It appears in Table E of Article 66 as a minimum front yard requirement. And under the code's definition of front yard, it expressly provides that the minimum, wherever there's a minimum front yard setback, That setback is to be measured from the front of the lot line and not from the curb line. Essentially, this concept of measuring from the curb line is something that doesn't appear anywhere in the text of Article 66. It doesn't appear anywhere.
So I think what we should do is the applicant here, by the way?
Applicant.
Yeah.
The developer?
So, they're running upstairs. The project manager from the board, Suburban Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, the project manager for this project, Tim, is running upstairs to the BPA to get their design.
Okay, well, they also have a 1130 case. But I think what we're going to do in this case is I would entertain a motion to refer to the legal department so that we can have an analysis done with both the proponent here as well as the applicant.
Absolutely.
So there's two separate things. One, we have to deal with the gentleman's issue of the interpretation, and we also have an 1130 hearing. And you're trying to get them?
Yes.
No. I'm asking.
I'm sorry.
So they're going to come down to respond to both the gentleman's appeal and
Okay,
also
well,
to the-
I don't think they don't need to respond during the public testimony because there'll be an opportunity to, if we refer to the legal department, there'll be an opportunity to have a hearing another time. So I would entertain a motion.
So I'm going to make a motion to refer case BOA 865552, 200-202 Ipswich Street, to the legal department for a legal decision.
Recommendation. For a recommendation.
For recommendation, yes, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Quick question, does that referral to the legal department include the opportunity to present oral argument, or is that at the discretion of the legal department?
The legal department will do, they'll advise us, they'll make a recommendation, but then there'll be a hearing and you'll have an opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much.
So we have one last case, but I guess I could do the recommendations while we're waiting, so. This was the subcommittee meeting on October 18th, down at 1010 Mass Ave. First case, BOA 870-449, 77 Utah Street, was a new wooden deck. It was approved. BOA 851-030, 1183 Saratoga Street, was a demo existing deck and build a new deck and a four-season room. It was approved with BPDA. BOA 850-633, 357 to 361 Hanover Street, was an existing restaurant from 38 persons to 49 persons, was approved. BOA 877-339, 275A to 275 Sharmat Avenue, was to remove takeout, a proviso to this petitioner only. It was approved. BOA 866-450, 111-115 Newbury Street, was a change of occupancy, include body art and permanent cosmetics. It was approved. BOA 857-648, 294 Newbury Street, was a beauty salon, 2 stores, a Japanese restaurant with takeout. It was approved. BOA 859-717, 1246-1250 was heard today. BOA 854-665, 91 Glen Road, was a new kitchen, new floor, was approved with BPDA. BOA 861-189, 3399 to 3401 Washington Street, was a changed body art established to a tattoo studio, was approved with BPDA. BOA 881-3712 Everdale Terrace was heard today. BOA 857-433, 1047 Blue Hill Avenue, was deferred till 1211. BOA 865-502, 1194 till 1206 Blue Hill Avenue, was a change of proviso from one petitioner. It was approved with BPDA. BOA 875-565, 28 Roslyn Street, as added dormant, it was approved. BOA 859-633, 218 Fairmont Street, it was proposed to construct a one addition, a half-story 16 by 25 addition. It was approved with BPDA. BOA 847-667, 8 Fairview, was to add a portion of the basement as living area to Unit 1. It was approved. BOA 860-730, 38 Knoll Street, was to demo an existing, install a new deck. It was approved. BOA 857-063, 48 Newburgh Street, was to construct a new dormer. It was approved with BPDA. BOA 842-450, 154 Willow Street, was to confirm occupancy as a single family and construct a 2-story addition. It was approved with BPDA. This concludes the subcommittee meeting on October 18th. We need a motion to accept.
A motion on the subcommittee recommendation.
Motion to accept recommendation of the subcommittee.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Mr. Chair, the last order of business is 202 Ipswich Street, which is G-Cod, but they're not here. Unless somebody wants to talk to us about it.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Tim Zerwinski. I'm the BPDA project manager for this project. I apologize for the confusion here. This project is still undergoing Article 80 review, and it's our preference that this approval for GCOD come after Article 80 review. So if it's possible to sort of defer this until you hear from us.
Well, that also makes sense because we just had, as you probably know, a challenge to whether ICA can issue a permit. So it doesn't make sense for us to go forward.
Yeah, and I actually ran upstairs and brought Brian Glasscock, our director of regulatory planning, who was involved in our discussions with ISD about that issue. But I understand it's been referred to for legal review.
Can I have a motion?
Motion for deferral.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Tim, when do you think their Article 80 will be done? Because we're into the new year, or we can do the end of the year?
We're in the new year. There's not really a timetable for that, so that's all I've got.
Okay, then just so
We can do January. We can do January 29th.
I mean, does it need to be scheduled, or because, like I said, there's no timetable for approval here.
The only other thing we could do is deny without prejudice, and you can do what you want. Come back when you want, but.
Well, it's got to go to the law department anyway.
So let's defer it to the January.
We just don't know what date it's going to come back at us.
if we defer it till the end of January and that's too soon, we could defer it again.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So the date is January 29th.
All right. And with that, the October 30th meeting is over. Get ready for the duck call.